Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today I have a deck donation from Jake. This is basically just a pretty standard Boros Synth list, but Boros Synth is a deck that I don't play too often on the channel, and Jake is remedying that with a donation. If you're interested in having me play a specific deck list, go ahead and do a deck donation in the link below. But Jake said that I could make some minor changes to the deck list if I wanted, but I kind of just liked the list that he sent over. It looked pretty clean to me. So our mana base, we have 3 Ancient Dens, 3 Great Furnace, 2 Rustvale Bridges as far as artifact lands, a couple Plains and Mountains, 1 of Radiant Fountain to gain a little bit extra life, which we can bounce with our core Skyfisher, Windscarred Crag also to gain some life, and Boros Garrisons, which can similarly bounce those lands with ETBs. Of course, we're playing 4 Synth and Glinthawk Skyfisher as our main value engine, 4 Lembas as well as additional artifacts to pick up with those. Playing 6 Inspectors, 2 Dawnbringer Clerics, and a couple Seeker of the Way. This is a card that's definitely fallen a little out of favor with the Boros Synth lists. It's really good against burn decks because of the life gain, but it also gets burned down pretty easily by a Lightning Bolt. But Jake specifically said he wanted these to be kept in, so we're going to see how they play today. And a couple Relic of Progenitus main deck. This opens up our sideboard so we don't have to have any graveyard hate there, and it's just another artifact we can bounce with our Glinthawk or our Skyfisher. And there's so many graveyard decks running around that it's not bad having them in the main deck either. As far as removal, we have Lightning Bolts and Galvanic Blasts for burn. We have a couple Journey to Nowhere to exile any creature that could outlive our burn, and of course a 1 of Makeshift Munitions to throw all of our various artifacts and creatures at our opponent in the endgame. For our sideboard, we have 3 Dust to Dust, 2 Standard Bearer, 5 Pyroblast effects, 2 Electrickeries, and 3 Navigator's Compass. So let's take it for a league and see how we do. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, or maybe you want me to suffer through High Tide, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a league video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, round 1 here, and we have the 1 lander, and it's our only land that does not produce colored mana, so definitely gonna have to take a mulligan there. This one's not great, a lot of lands, but we're down to 6. We have some good value in the Glinthawk if we can find an artifact that's not a land, so I think we're gonna keep this one and just put back a Plains. I think we'd rather keep our artifact lands and more red mana. I mean, I guess this evens us out, but more red mana is probably good because we have a lot of burn spells. I'll start with a Windscarred Crag in case we top deck a Boros Garrison I want to play. And we're against something black. Could be Grixis Affinity, and they just found their 1 of Swamp. Synth is a great draw. We're going to wait a little bit on that. I just played the tap land. I probably should have played the Seeker of the Way, so we could get that going, and the next turn I Synth, we grow it. Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. They're on, I guess, probably Jund. Just kind of a weird start for Jund, but okay. We're going to Synth here. Yeah, like I said, well, I really should have gotten the Seeker down, because now we're missing out on 3 damage this turn. I think we're going to try to remedy that by playing the Seeker this turn and playing a Bridge. This gives us as much mana as possible to go Synth Glinthawk next turn, but obviously missing that is annoying. They are Jund, and they have nothing to play here, or maybe they have like a Fanatical Offering they're holding up, or a Cast Down. And we're going to start with the Synth. We're getting a little unlucky drawing so many lands, but hopefully Synth gets us some value here, some gas. Skyfisher's good. We have nothing else to bounce. We do have red and a white land here, so we're going to bounce the Synth. Ideally, we find a 1-drop. Journey to Nowhere is a little unfortunate. I'm not going to waste a Synth or a Glinthawk here, so we're just going to swing, play a land and pass. But Journey would be really good in this matchup against Chrysalis, so pretty annoying that we found when we can't use it. Because if they play a Chrysalis here, that's exactly what I want to find. Cleansing Wildfire. They haven't had any refurbs, which is nice so far. They could be playing Gixian, Wellspring. Okay, so we have another turn to hit them for some damage. Yeah, this would be even better if we'd already hit him for an extra 3, pressuring them a lot. Skyfisher's a good draw. We're going to start with a Synth, obviously. Just need to play a little slower. I think I was thinking that, Glinthawk is a creature I wanted to play after getting the Synth down. I was kind of thinking that for Seeker 2, which is obviously just not the case. So I can play a Skyfisher, pick this up, and then any 2-drop we get, I should be able to play. So we're going to do that. I'm doing this pre-combat because if we get like a Bolt or something, we can deal extra damage with the Seeker. Makeshift Munitions. Well, that's really good here. We have a lot of artifact lands. It triggers the Seeker. We get to hit for 6, so they're down to 11. Imagine if they were down to 8. And then, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot here. For life gain in their main deck, they usually run a one of Pulse of Marasa and maybe some Toxin Analysis, not to mention a Lembas or two. So they could have a way to gain a little bit of life here. They duress first. In the main deck, that's pretty annoying. Losing Synth here is pretty unfortunate, unless we can find another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage with the munitions though right now, and they have the Chris. So I'll probably attack with everything. Whatever they try to eat with Chris, I'll throw at them. Oh, they're actually just playing a Wellspring? Okay, that's great. That means they can't even block 2 of these. They can only block 1, so they take 4, and then I have 6. So if I get a bolt here, I can just win. If not, I'm going to be 1 mana short of winning. Windscarred Crag. Okay, well, we're still going to just slam in. They block a Skyfisher. We're going to throw that at them. So they go to 6. Yeah, I only have 5 mana. So I'm just going to play a tap land and pass. I mean, if they don't have any way to gain life, then we can still just munitions them down. They go for an offering. I maybe actually am realizing I should have played Glint Hawk, because one of their ways to gain life would be Toxin Analysis. If I played Glint Hawk, picked up a land, then I could block the Chris. And if they go for Toxin, I can sack the Glint Hawk. Well, I'll sack it either way. And then they wouldn't be able to gain life. I'm just thinking that, like, them gaining life here is one of the ways we could lose. But if they just tap out, that's totally fine. They go for a refurb. We're going to obviously keep our artifact land. Map onto the refurb for a bridge. Another refurb. Okay, that does not keep them alive. So we have 4 artifact lands here. I probably should have just kept the land, to be honest, but they're tapped out, just making sure we have all our bases covered before I sack our entire board, but there should be no way that they can survive here. There's no reason to sacrifice artifact lands on the end step here, because if you do, you're losing just as much mana as you're saving, so we really don't need to do that. So let's just start throwing these. All right. Well, despite our minor misplay, which ended up being a bigger misplay because we could have won a turn earlier, luckily we did not throw the game, but let's try to play just a little bit slower and actually play correctly. We get Dust to Dust against them, and that's about it. They're not blue. They're not go wide enough. We don't need the life gain. We don't need Standard Bearer. So Dawnbringer Cleric exiles a it can exile a card from a graveyard, which can be relevant against Blood Fountain. Life gain's pretty irrelevant. Destroying an enchantment is good against their munitions, or if they play Hydra. A lot of the lists that play Gixie and Infiltrator no longer play Hydra, so I'm not sure this guy's super necessary. I think I want all the burn and the journeys. I think Relic is still good enough against Blood Fountain. Munitions was good there. In general, it's not going to be a ton of value to kill off their creatures, unless we get like an early Gixie and Infiltrator or something. But this is going to be a grindy matchup, so the munitions can be good for sure. I think Inspectors just get stonewalled a little too early, that I don't need as many of them. Seeker was good there, but they did have a pretty slow start. Do I want to keep a Dawnbringer Cleric just as an out to a Munitions or a Hydra? I don't think so. I think we're just gonna... I'd hate to keep them in over an Inspector and then have them do nothing and then like I don't get a card draw. That could be really crucial. Another one-lander. We're on the draw, and obviously this has our colors of mana, but I don't think this is going to be a keep. This one's decent. We have a Dust to Dust on turn 3. Now we're on the draw, but we also are impervious to... until turn 3, we're impervious to Artifact Hate on our guys. I think I'm going to get rid of the Bolt here. I'd rather the creatures. If we are able to catch them with the Dust to Dust on 2 lands, and then they don't have anything to do, I'd like the consistent damage. The Bolt just isn't as relevant here because there's not that many creatures I need to kill with it. They start with a bridge. Good for us. Okay, of course we need a synth for our Glint Hawk and our Skyfisher, but not looking too bad. They have the Wildfire. Even if they do play a bridge next turn, that makes Dust to Dust worse because they just have more lands. But I will say Dust to Dust is not the most insane thing in this matchup, as it is against like Grixis Affinity or Esper Affinity, because where it just takes 2 of any permanents. But it is still pretty good because not only can you catch bridges early, but also Blood Fountain and Refurb and Lembas and things are relevant. So if they just play an untapped land here, or not a non-artifact land, I might just take these 2 away. They scry to the bottom. Yeah, play a landscape. If I do go for that, they could just have a Fanatical, and then we don't get a lot of value. My alternative is cracking a clue and playing another Inspector, though. Do I actually think cutting off their land here is very important? I kind of think no. At this point, I think I'd rather save the Dust to Dust for Refurbs and Blood Fountains. So I am going to crack this clue, see if we hit a tap land. Synth is good. Then we'll play Inspector. Hopefully we don't get this Troublemaker oofed. I guess that would have been a reason to Dust to Dust these, is to try to prevent that, but they still would have had an artifact with the offering, so can't do much about it anyway. If we don't lose our land, Synth is going to be really good here, though. Synth can hit anything. If hopefully it'll find our land, and then we can Glint Hawk. Okay, they go for a Chris. Stops our aggression for now. Map onto Chris. Okay, if we find a Journey to Nowhere, it doesn't matter how big this guy is. They find a mountain in hand. There's a blood fountain. So this, I mean, there's nothing in the graveyard right now, so I don't need to kill the blood fountain now. We do hit our land. Yeah, I think I'd like to develop our board a little more, so I'm going to synth here. Plus, I'd like to hit blood fountain plus like a refurb at this point. I guess hitting this does take them off black for one turn, but I don't think that's worth it. I think we need to start our train rolling for some advantage. Glint Hawk is a nice draw off of that. Play that, pick up the synth. Of course, they're going to have Duress. They had him in the main deck, and there's no reason they should have taken him out. So keeping synth in hand can be a little risky here. So honestly, there's something to be said about just casting it again so that it's always on the field. Because our hand looks incredible if we don't lose synth. Of course, if they have an oof, they can take it away regardless. But if they know it's in hand and then they Duress, we're just in a kind of a tough spot. If I cast it now, I can only play lands or 1-drops off of it, white 1-drops, so that's 3 inspectors because I cut 1, 2 Glint Hawks, so probably going to whiff if I cast it. But it's not necessarily about getting the value here, it's about keeping it around through a Duress. Well, we're going to play the Ancient Den. I guess we'll keep it in hand and just crack this clue. It's tough because like we would probably waste a card here, which obviously I don't want to waste any value. But if we do get to rest and we can't find another synth, we're kind of just sitting around not doing much. But I guess that's the play I'm making. They have another Chris, so they can start attacking for damage too. They have a Wildfire. That gets another black mana. Yeah, there's also always something to be said about, even though we would only cut them off 1 mana, them not having an artifact, or excuse me, a bridge specifically, means they can't Wildfire. So there could have still been some value to Dust before, but this turn specifically, I certainly think Synth was the right call. I do swing. If we can find a Journey to Nowhere on this guy, we can hit him back for a little bit. It's good to be hitting our land drops, but that's more than I want. All right, we're going to start with a Synth, do a Garrison. Let's just Glint Hawk, pick this up. Another Synth, okay. Well, now I got to cast that. It's nice to have 2, but now I have to cast that or else we're going to lose something. Okay, we get a land, so I could play a Mountain or a Garrison. I have enough land drops that the Garrison, being an extra land drop essentially, is kind of irrelevant. So if I just would prefer to play the Mountain for a 2-drop here, that's probably better, but I don't actually have a 2-drop I want to cast. I guess Garrison makes this discard, so it's not even an extra land drop. I could Skyfisher and pick up an Inspector, or pick up the Synth, but that's just a waste. Probably going to have to start chumping. I guess having another Skyfisher on the board would be nice so that if we find a Journey to Nowhere, then I can start attacking for more. Plus, I really don't want to waste 2 mana here. I think we will. Like, Journey now lets us have 6 damage attacking in the air, assuming they also, attack with their other Chrysalis here. I guess if they have another Chris and they attack with both of these, we're in a pretty rough spot because we have to start chumping, but we can't even start attacking. They have another Wildfire. This definitely is making me regret not taking that bridge out earlier a little bit, although they just discarded a bridge with the blood, so they would have had another one. And they do have the 3rd. Okay. Refurb is fine. Doesn't really matter. This could be a 7-8. So even if I block with everything, I can't kill it. So I think I just chump here. If I don't chump, we're already taking 7. They can make it 15. That's way too much. And they cast down, using a spawn to grow these a little bit. Grow some more, so they hit for 5. Yeah. Not a great spot to be in. We keep getting lands. I mean, I could dust these 2, but our problem is the Chris's. So, start with the Synth. I probably should have just started with the Skyfisher. We get a dust off the top. I mean, it's not bad to take these 2 out, but then we have to chump like 2 of these with birds. Well, I can play an Inspector. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could just shoot these 2 if the mana matters at all. There are 2 cards in hand. I'm just going to play a Skyfisher here. If we hit like a land, then I'll probably play Dust, but if we hit a Journey to Nowhere, I think that's better. Glint Hawk, okay. We'll just abandon this Dust. It just doesn't do enough anyway, and we already have a Dust for like these 2, so I think I just need to try to hit some action here. Lembus is fine, I guess. We'll play the Fountain in case I want to like pick it up later. We'll play Lembus. We're not wanting more lands. I mean, Skyfisher makes it so this guy can't really attack, but again, we have to chump 2 of these, otherwise we'd be taking 13. Cycle a Landscape, play another Blood Fountain. Yeah, I mean, their hand seems bad at this point, but their board is just too developed, I think. Refurb, and they cast down the Skyfisher so they can attack with the Refurb too. So chump here. I guess we trade. Just comes back with the thing, but I might dust. I don't know. This is 13. They're not gonna. They're out of cards, and they're not gonna probably have Galvanics because we've seen cast down. So I could just take this, but that makes the Refurb lethal next turn. The next turn I have 4 creatures that are lethal. Dust to dust. I guess maybe I just don't block this guy because we dust to dust these 2, and nothing's in the grave, so I don't care about the Blood Fountains. So we just block like this. Yep. Another Dust to Dust. It's not really what we need. So if I'm using 3 mana on Dust to Dust, Inspector technically keeps us alive, so that's 4 mana, so I have 3 mana to play with. I think we start with a Synth. Galvanic Blast. We haven't drawn any of our burn until now, so there's no way we can really just burn them out, I don't think. I guess if I find another Galvanic, I can kill a Chris. But I'm going to Dust to Dust here, play an Inspector. Galvanic, that only leaves us 1 mana. Yeah, well, we got to take these away. We need a second blocker, so I think we just do this. Maybe there's a world where we can burn them out, because we go to 1 here with 3 enormous creatures, but I can sack a Synth for a creature. We still have 3 journeys in the deck. I guess 2 Lembas activations lets us survive this one guy. Probably not going to work, though. Let's sack this. There's a journey. Journey, 1 samurai. So get rid of this block here. We need to hit a 1-drop off this Synth. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that saves us. Windscarred Crag is not it. I guess technically I could Synth into... No, because I need an untapped land and a 1-drop still. Now we're dead, unfortunately. I mean, I can crack a clue, but, like, does not matter at this point. Yeah, second journey. Just unfortunate. We didn't see any removal. I mean, Dust to Dust not really counting. We didn't see any removal until that Galvanic Blast, which was 25 cards down or something. Pretty tough. And the Dust to Dust are always a little hit or miss. They weren't terrible in the end, taking a couple refurbs, but they just were awkward. Maybe I should have used it up earlier. We don't have any more removal to bring in. I mean, I could Standard Bearer to Lightning Round and cast down, but I don't think that's really good. Like, our creatures are not even the most exceptional to be cast down anyway. Another 1-lander with just a Radiant Fountain. 1-lander on the play. Synth can dig for them, but I feel like that's usually a trap. I mean, it is a lot of good value. Craig, turn 2, we Synth. Hopefully hit a land. If we don't, turn 3, we can Glint Hawk. I'm going to mulligan this. I think it might be okay, but this is the type of hand that I would prefer, especially on the play, is 1-drop Seeker. Seems good here. I think I'm getting rid of 2 lands then. And I want an untapped land. In case they have the Troublemaker, I think I get rid of the Furnace here instead of the Mountain. Then Galvanic is worse. Makeshift is worse. If they have a Troublemaker, they can already just eat the Ancient Den. I guess we'd probably just try to go for the maximum upside here since we're on a mulligan of 5. I mean, if they just Dirtle, this could be a pretty aggressive start. Duress, pretty brutal when we mulligan to 5. Well, if we find like a Synth off the top into another Seeker or something, that could be really good. They only have black mana at the moment, but it's possible they're doing that just because they're playing. On curve, Scry at the bottom. Something to cast that triggers the Seeker would be good. I'll take a Bolt. I'm just going aggro here. I might as well crack this Clue. Actually, I guess if I crack the Clue, I don't have Galvanic mana, but I'm going to crack this at some point. Or I don't have Galvanic artifacts, but I'm not going to not crack this. Well, there's the Galvanic, but hopefully we'll find another artifact. I just was never wasting that 2 mana, not cracking the Clue anyway, just in case we find a Galvanic, but this is the start we need. They're down to 12. Refurb is pretty brutal, though. It blocks and takes our Bolt, or Blast rather. Cast down's pretty bad too. Ugh. Dust to Dust. We don't have double white. Dust to Dust actually looks pretty good here. Take away a land, a Lembas, but we can't cast it, so doesn't matter. They get green, which means they already have red for Chris, or maybe that's for Troublemaker Oof. Oof would be brutal. Yep, and that's exactly what it is. Well, I think our only way to win really is burning them out. So Galvanic, I'm going to be saving as long as possible, and until I can get Metalcraft and ideally aiming at their face. But this was just really unfortunate. We never could have kept the 7-card hand. We could have kept the 6, and it looked okay. Honestly, I liked the look of the 5-card hand, but the Duress on the Lembas was just backbreaking. Like, I liked the 5 more than the 6, but that's not to say it couldn't have worked out on 6 if we had gotten the land. Well, we find a Plains. They didn't play a Chris, so they don't have one. They Duress. I don't think I care about Dust to Dust at this point because they only have 1 artifact and they might just not play another one. So I think I'm going to Galvanic them. Obviously, we're not getting as much damage as I would like, but it's 2 more than what's going to happen if they Duress it away. And there's just no guarantee we can even cast the Dust to Dust. They have a Blood Fountain, so maybe it would have been decent. But if this was important enough to them, they would have kept it, or they would have taken the Dust anyway. I guess then maybe I still would have had the Galvanic, which could be a combat trick on this turn, but whatever. Discard a Forest. Weather the Storm. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but it is pretty annoying. Okay, Synth. Oh boy. They didn't have a Chris. I think I should just journey this. Oof. We get in for 4. It's pretty unfortunate to waste, but this does let me use my bolts on them rather than on their creature. If I did bolt the Oof, they could get it back with a Blood Fountain. Recycling a landscape. I think this is the way to win, potentially. Okay, Synth is a great draw. Into like a Glint Hawk, into a Bolt would be great. If I want to get greedy, Skyfisher's totally fine. Should I play that now? Because there's no reason to. I probably want to pick up Synth, even though it'll probably whiff. I mean, if it hits a land, that's pretty good. I could just pick up Inspector, but that's actually makes us less aggressive. Yeah, I think I still just pick up Synth here. Okay, Bolt is an unfortunate one to waste. Oh, I guess also picking up Synth lets us retrigger the Seeker of the Way, so that's definitely the right call. I did worry about the duress, but what are you gonna do? Breath Weapon, pretty bad. Pretty annoying. That's a good draw. I mean, none of these are the worst things that we could see, because Chris, until we get a Journey, is just really bad. I'm going to crack this in case we hit a tap land, or a land at all. Yeah, it's better to play in case I get a Synth. So, like, Breath Weapon's bad, Duress was bad, but they're not the worst. Lembas is pretty annoying, because it fogs a turn and finds them something else. They kept on top. Bridge and a Wildfire, okay. Well, they have mana now. Spectre's pretty good. I don't think I crack a clue now. They've already used 2 duresses, or 3 duresses, jeez. But I guess there's probably no way that they have one. Like, if I crack now and I find, like, a Synth or something I don't want to cast, then duress could take it, but they would only have 1 duress more at the most. And if I get, like, an Inspector or a Glinthawk, I'd want to play it, so I think I do crack here. Bridge is fine, too. We'll play that. They play a Bridge. They crack their Lembas for life. Okay. We get a Lembas. Fantastic. We are going to keep a Synth. Play that. Into a Glinthawk is phenomenal. We hit for 4. I think I return the Synth. If we whiff on it this turn, then it only gets us 1 card next turn. And the Lembas would also get us a card, but it'd let us scry. But I didn't play a land, so Synth could hit a land or a 1-drop. I think there's a lot of things it could hit that it's worth picking up the Synth here. Bolt, there we go. I guess they could have a Weather the Storm. Yeah, well, that's really annoying. We got them so close, but I wasn't, like, the Bolt canceled out, and nothing else I was playing was not going to happen, so we're still not in a bad spot. Let's slam in for 6. Start with the Synth. Inspector. Okay, we're going to play that, but let's play a Lembas. Skyfisher we're definitely going to keep. I don't think I want to waste this Inspector, though, so let's play that. Pass. We have 7 damage, so that's a 2-turn clock. They get a Wildfire. Even a Chris now is not the end of the world. Like, we'll lose a Skyfisher, but we'll get in for between 3 and 5 if they want to sack their spawn for it. Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite by any means, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, I could Skyfisher the Journey if I want to give him back a 2/2 in exchange for Chris. That might be worth it. Is that worth it? It blocks our Inspectors just as well, but then we can start attacking in with the Flyers, which don't die. I think that might be worth it. Let's crack this clue. If we just find a Journey, obviously it's better. Or I could pick up the Synth. No, I think we pick up the Journey to Nowhere. And I'm still going to attack with the Inspectors. We lose 1. We get in for 2 damage and or eat some spawn here. Yeah, they do chump twice. Go down to 9. So we have 6 damage in the air. Any bolt or blast kills them now. If they don't have another Weather the Storm. They've already used 2. We can, if we draw nothing, we can crack a Synth here. They play a Mountain. So 1 card. They have been holding on to 1 card for a while. Could be a land. Could be another Weather. Looks like a Nyxborn Hydra. Okay, they did play Nyxborn Hydra. So that blocks. Synth off the top's great. Let's play that. Well, we're gonna crack this since we hit a land. Another Journey would be great. 3-bit Inspector. So if we attack, we get in for 5, and we lose 2 guys. That's worth it. We're only getting in for 1 with the Inspectors that by throwing 1 away, but I still think we're close enough with Galvanics, with Lightning Bolts and everything that it's worth the thing. We have tons of life, so we don't even need to worry the Hydra killing us. They have a Refurb. That's not going to keep them alive, right? Because they block. I guess... yeah, they can go to 1 here if I can't find a way to kill them. Crack a clue. Well, that's not going to do it. Crack the Synth. Relic. So they trade, eat, trade. They take 2, but they lose 2 guys, and then we have 3 creatures. Okay, I think that's still worth attacking with everybody. We're losing a lot of guys pretty quick, to be honest, but I mean, if they don't draw anything here, we should be good. Oh, I guess they get to Blood Fountain these 2 back. That's kind of... oh, why didn't I cast this Relic first? Damn it. If I'd already cast the Relic, then they couldn't bring these back, but now they can do it in response. That was really bad. I'm playing a little fast because we're low-ish on time, but that's not a reason that I should have let that go. Well, now the Relic's kind of irrelevant. I think I'm going to crack it just in case I just draw a Bolt, and it's all... doesn't matter? No. Well, that could definitely be throwing, because now they get to exile the Journey. They get to draw a card. They also top deck a Fanatical. They get enough creatures. Yeah, that could have just been the game right there. God dang it. There was no reason to not play it. We knew they had the Blood Fountain on board. I just was focused on attacking and not using up too much time, and that was bad. We can still just win if they don't get like life gain and we can top deck a Lightning Bolt, but that's we could just win here without having to worry about that. I mean, not necessarily. The Fanatical Offering was still a good draw 3, but even without the 3 cards we don't know about, they have some really good cards here. There's a Refurb. Munitions is another win off the top. We've only used 1 Lightning Bolt, 3 bolts. I forgot about that. 3 bolts and a Galvanic Blast. So we have 5 outs here. Yep, and they just drew a bunch of lands off their Fanatical, so everything else was on us. Okay, and unless they have something here, we're bailed out by the top deck of a lifetime. Okay, thank God. I felt so bad for throwing that. That was really unfortunate. We were blessed with a great top deck, but man, that should not have been that close at the end there. Because like literally, if we don't get that, they're still at 2 until they can gain some life, but every card they draw could be another Weather, could be another whatever, and they could start attacking with this Hydra, which kills us pretty quickly. We have some Lembuses, we're at 36 virtually, but that still kills us in like 6 hits. So luckily, we were able to get there. All right, another 1-lander. What is with these? On the play. No, I'm not going to keep that. All right, 2 lands. I can keep this. I think we'll get rid of 1 Lembus. Since we have another Lembus, we have a Synth. So artifacts covered. I don't want to get rid of our Journey in case we're against another Jund or whatever. Grixis, it looks like. He's going to play a Lembus. We're looking for another land. I probably wouldn't say no to a Glint Hawk or something, but you know, we have enough value in hand. Land is definitely what we want. Yeah, we'll keep the Great Furnace. Compass, okay, maybe it is Esper actually. Looks to be that way. Compass could be kind of annoying in the face of our burn plan. I'm gonna Synth here. I could play just about anything. If I get a Core Skyfisher, I'll pick up the Lembus. Novice Inspector, okay, I'll play that, and then I get a Windscarred Cragdown, which is good because I want more white mana going anyway. They have a Bauble for the Inspector. Okay, usually I'm on the other side of this matchup. They could Thoughtcast here. They got nothing. Okay, they could be holding up a Cast Down, or like an Eviscerator's Insight or something, which I don't technically play. I don't usually play, but they certainly could be. Or a Thraben Charm, something like that. We're going to start by Skyfishing the Synth. Glint Hawk, okay. Obviously I could Synth and then pick up it back up with the Glint Hawk, but that's probably going to waste everything out of this Synth. I think we just Glint Hawk the Lembus, play an Inspector. This gets a lot of creatures down on the board, so we can start being a little aggressive. Of course, they can pick off our Glint Hawk with the Bauble if they have a way to pick it back up. They do have a Cast Down. Yeah, there's the Glint Hawk. The good news is if they don't find a Cryogen here, which they haven't so far, we should be able to stay ahead of them in advantage with Synth and Lembus. We're going to start with the Synth. They do usually play Thrabens in the main deck, so I don't really want to journey a creature with an ETB. I'd rather save this for like a Mere Enforcer. Thraben Inspector. So let's cast a Lembus. Yeah, like they only have 3 cards in hand. We have 3, but we're about to draw one for Lembus. We're going to have 3 Clue tokens here. Galvanic seems fine enough. I'll keep that on top. Play the Inspector. I could Galvanic the Glint Hawk here to get in for 1 damage, but I think I'd rather just develop my Garrison out, and I think I'd rather just pick up an untapped land with all of our clues rather than getting like 1 life out of a Crag in a matchup where the life gain is not super relevant. Another Compass. So I've stopped playing Compass in my main deck for this exact reason. Until they had the Ancient End, it looked decent because it was filtering their mana, but now they're in a matchup where they want to be able to grind, and they've wasted 2 cards on gaining some life that doesn't really matter. I'm not saying it's always terrible. There's definitely going to be games where it actually helps them a lot in the early game. But another reason to have them is like affinity count, but clearly they don't have a Mere Enforcer. They would have played it for free here. So they're just not doing them any good except for being, getting rid of a bolt's worth of damage. Well, we're going to crack a Clue here. Lembus is good. Play that. They could have a Metallic Rebuke, something to keep in mind. Keeping a Skyfisher, but I don't want to use it on a Lembus because we can get more value out of it on the Synth. So I'm just going to play a Inspector here and pass. They are going to Surveil with the Bauble. Makes sense. They bin a Skyfisher and a Glint Hawk. That's crazy. Obviously, they don't have anything good to bounce with them, but that is tough. I mean, I guess it's good if they get a Blood Fountain. They can bring them both back. Ideally, we'll have a Relic by then. Okay, I'm just keeping this Galvanic Blast for something scarier than 1 Glint Hawk. I don't really feel the need to kill it at this moment. We're going to swing. They also, most likely, the only board wipe they have in their deck is Suffocating Fumes, which doesn't kill anything in our deck, so we don't need to worry about overcommitting to the board here. Pick up the Synth. We get a Mountain. Replay the Synth. Dawnbringer Cleric. Okay. I could Glint Hawk, but again, if I pick up the Synth, I could waste some value. I think we're just playing this. I could gain 2 life, but I don't think that's going to be very relevant. I think the more relevant thing is exiling one of these from their grave, because if they do find a Blood Fountain, this would be a nice way to cast down. Yep. This would be a nice way to come back a little bit. We also already have 6 life gain from the Limbuses, so we're at a virtual 23 with very little pressure, so I just don't find it necessary to gain life here off the Cleric. They're going to swing for 2. They have a refurb, okay. I'll crack a clue here. I'm probably discarding this Furnace, but maybe I draw something worse. I mean, I would like to keep hitting land drops, to be honest, but I think with like Glinthawk Synth, we can probably do that, no problem. Now that they have a second creature attacking, I probably will Galvanic Blast one of these, unless they trade this for like an Inspector, which they could. Also, there's our land drops for the next couple turns. I would like to save the Galvanic Blast for going at their face, so we'll swing for 4 here, but they're realizing their only game plan is to attack in the air, cast down all of our flyers, so understandably that's what they're doing. So I might need to start cashing some removal in on them. Pick up the Synth for another Synth. We'll cast that one. All right, and they concede. Yeah, we were just miles ahead of them. Yeah, if these Compasses were just something better, they could have been in a better position. Obviously, you know, they already played 4 Cryogens. These wouldn't have been a Cryogen, but like I've swapped these out for like a Spell Bomb and Raven's Crime, which neither of which would be insane here, but a Spellbomb would have been a new card draw, you know. All right, well, Dust to Dust is really good here, and Pyroblasts are not bad. It hits their important cards of Cryogen Relic and Thought Cast, but also Metallic Rebuke if they play those main deck, and they're probably going to bring in some Blue Blasts. Dawnbringer Cleric doesn't seem necessary. Again, the graveyard just a little bit, but we have the relics to cover that. Journeys can hit the Mirror Enforcers, but we already have Galvanics to do that, plus Dust to Dust now. These could get Thraben Charmed, and I don't really want to use it on like a bird. Any of their flyers we can already kill with our burns, I think that's fine. Maybe 1 Inspector because it gets blocked by all their flyers pretty easily. I don't really need to bring in 5 Pyroblasts, I don't think, but I like bringing in a few. Dust to Dust is obviously going to be the big killer, as they are an Affinity deck. Alright, this hand looks solid. We'll keep. They mulled a 6. We got some nice interaction, good card advantage. All right, they do have the Relic. Get a Garrison. So yeah, I think we just Inspector and Garrison this turn. That way we have 3 mana next turn. I can play a Synth if I want to. I have another Cryogen. That's better than them having a Skyfisher. So it's a little awkward. If I Synth here, I have a white floating and a red. If I hit a land drop, probably fine. I guess I can play just about anything. If I get like a Skyfisher or a Glinthawk, I pick up the Synth, might waste more value. I kind of think I just want to Crag and crack the clue. What I've learned in the few matches that I have played with the Synth is generally, if you have another option, a reasonable alternative to a Synth, when you don't have a lot of mana, you should probably take that, because just casting the Synth when you only have a couple mana, maybe you can play anything in your deck, but then you get a Glinthawk, the only artifact I want to bounce is the Synth, and then you waste the second draw from that, and that's just not really where you want to be. They do have a Skyfisher now. Pick up the Relic. Duress us. Okay, we're kind of duress proof. I guess if they take the Bolt, I can't kill this at the moment, but I just have a Skyfisher to block. I think it's fine. And obviously if they take a Synth, we have the second one. We didn't have the Dust to Dust. Obviously we would have cast it last turn. I guess I wouldn't have been able to because of all our white mana has been tapped. So this could catch one before we were able to cast it, but now I would love to draw Dust to Dust. Take away 2 of their lands. That will all but win us the game. We have 2 draws to find it with the Clue token. They do take 1 Synth. Let's crack the clue. Pyroblast, okay. We know they have a Cryogen in hand. Ancient Den's not bad, because now it lets me play like a Glinthawk into another white spell or something off the Synth, but we're going to start with the Synth this time. There's the Glinthawk. Okay, worst case, if I'm going to waste this red, I can like bolt the Skyfisher. So let's just cast this. Pick up Synth. Pyroblast. Well, if I don't want to waste the Pyroblast, I got to kill the Cryogen, which gives them the card draw, but then I can hold up Pyroblast for the other Cryogen. That's not bad. I mean, we don't want to waste it, and they're going to get the card off of it at some point anyway, so I think that's probably worth it. I was already trying to figure out what to do with this Pyroblast, because I was like, well, if we counter 1 Cryogen, they just have a second one. But now that we have the ability to, maybe they have a third, maybe they have a counter for this, but might as well try. If their goal was to Cryogen and then Skyfisher, then we throw that off totally. They swing for 2. They do have a third Cryogen. Okay, so be it. I mean, it's still card advantage that we're getting rid of, or we turn what they would have a 2-for-1 that we're turning into a 1-for-1, so it's not the most advantage ever, but okay, Relic or a Familiar as well. I think I'll get rid of the Mountain, and they have the Enforcer. Okay, Dust to Dust would be real good right now. We have 0 artifacts. Well, let's put it to 1. Craig, we want to get Skyfisher down to block. I could still play a 2-drop up off the Synth, so let's do that. Okay, now we get a Great Furnace, so I might want the Great Furnace to get to Metalcraft over the Crag. I guess I'm not using it this turn anyway. Probably should be able to find another artifact, no problem. The extra white can be relevant. But if I get a makeshift munitions, the Great Furnace will be good too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that. And then not really a reason to attack here, I don't think. I could swing with the Glint Hawk and they could trade, but if they just take it, kill the Skyfisher, I'm taking more damage in the air. Obviously, I'll probably bolt down the Skyfisher, but because next turn I can go Synth. Assuming I don't get a land off of this that I want to play, I can play the Ancient Den, and then I can Galvanic the Mirror Enforcer. Also, by attacking, you can just open your, like, we've already seen 2 Cryogens here, but you can sometimes attack and then open yourself up to being stun locked for like 3 turns if they just keep playing Cryogens and tapping one guy, which can be really brutal. Obviously here when it's like a 2-2, it's not the end of the world, but if you attack with like a Chrysalis, it can be pretty rough. All right, they've had a pretty good draw. All Cryogens and creatures is definitely where you want to be at. Thoughtcast, another Thoughtcast, lucky them, and a Skyfisher. Well, that's interesting. I guess they want to pick up a land here. No, they pick up the Refurb. I guess they just wanted to use their mana because it feels like they should save that for their Cryogen Relic. But okay, so I could just kill this next turn with the Galvanic, but I could trade off a Skyfisher for it now, which isn't great because it blocks nicely. It blocks their flyers. I could also just trade an Inspector and a Bolt. I think I'll just take it, and then I can Galvanic it down. I could bolt one of these, but it just doesn't really do much at the moment. Relic is a nice draw, so that we can't get by a Blood Fountain once we start killing all these. Skyfisher, cast that. Well, actually, maybe I should have played the Ancient Den. I could hit a land off this, but I might have wanted to play the Ancient Den Galvanic Blast first, because if I pick this up, don't end up redeploying it. Oh, I guess I have the Relic for the Metalcraft, so it's probably fine. Oh, well. I have a second Relic now, too. All right, we're going to play that. I guess activate it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll Galvanic Blast the Mirror Enforcer right now. I think we'll leave up a Bolt and the Relic activation. They've definitely gotten a little more card advantage than us. We were kind of going toe-to-toe until they double Thoughtcast, triple Thoughtcast, but we're certainly not out of it. Another Refurb. That gets to be annoying. I could discard a Relic. I could also pop this Relic, and if I draw like a land, then I can be happy discarding that and then play another Relic next turn. I probably am not going to need a Bolt this turn. They would have to kill like both Skyfishers for that to be really necessary. Yeah, I think I'm going to crack this. If we draw something else we want to keep, you know, we'll have to make a decision, but still gives us more decisions. Yeah, Crag, I'm totally good discarding. Pretty happy with that. I also was holding up the Bolt. Like if they had played the Refurb and then immediately played a Skyfisher, I would have bolted the Refurb. But now that they have 2 Refurbs, that wouldn't have made a difference anyway, so they're gonna attack with everything. Well, that can't be right. I mean, I just get to eat this kind of for free, and I can just block here. So they're trading a Glint Hawk for 2 damage. Now, if I want, I could throw this Glint Hawk in front of the Skyfisher to trade those off. Feels pretty good, seeing as we have a Relic for a Blood Fountain anyway. I think that's fine. I don't know what they could have for 1 mana that would change this. But just throwing away the Glint Hawk doesn't feel right at all. I guess I could have also just doubled up on Skyfishers on a Skyfisher, eaten that, but that would have just making me take more damage. Okay, they have a Bauble, sure. Well, good thing I traded off the Glint Hawk for the Skyfisher then, as opposed to just blocking, because that would have been less good. But I'm pretty okay with that trade. Ooh, Munitions is really good, because I could pick off these 2. I don't really have a ton that I want to throw at the moment. You have 6 mana, so I can play a Relic and hold it up, so that's 2. Bolt this down, Munitions, and kill one of these. And then next turn I can kill another one, maybe. So I'm not going to Synth this turn, because I think it's too good to just have the ability to, like, shoot all of these down. All right, we'll swing. I'm going to throw the Inspector, so I'm happy to trade it here. Or at least I'm going to have the option to throw the Inspector. But we're going to play Relic, bolt the Skyfisher, play Munitions. Also, might as well activate the Relic. They only have creatures in their grave after all. And I don't think there's a reason I need to pick off one of these now. They have the Blood Fountain. That's fine. We have the Relic. That was also my thought with them attacking with everything last turn. Was kind of only made sense if they had a Blood Fountain to recoup the value, but our second Relic is coming in handy. If they just crack it here, I'll probably pick off one of the Refurbs first and then crack the Relic so that I can get rid of one of them in case they get a second Blood Fountain. I don't have the mana to pick off both of them and then also crack the Relic, so that would not be happening. Also not going to tap out here if they just try to pass, because obviously I don't want them to use the Blood Fountain when I don't have the Relic up. Dust to Dust. Okay, well, they're making it easy to decide what lands to, or what permanents to sacrifice to ping these off. They only have 3 mana left, but they haven't played a land. So, because I could try to ping off both of these, but then if they have the land and they Relic, that's pretty bad. So I don't think I can afford to do that. Unless they like tap one here, but no, I think we'll just If they go to end step without having played a land, yeah, there's the land. Then I would, they were trying to bait me into doing exactly that. Okay, well, Dust to Dust hurt, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, they have a Glint Hawk. That's really good. They're probably going to pick up the Relic, but honestly, they could pick up a Refurb. We only have one card, and it's a Synth. It's a really good one. But they've now used the mana they can't Blood Fountain this turn, so I'm going to pick off the Refurb with the Inspector, because I'd like to kill that at some point. I really don't want to lose this Synth. They still get really good value off of it. All right, replay the Relic. We get a Skyfisher. I could just crack the Relic at some point. Seeing as my mana's so pinched, I might have to, because I want to just hold it up so that they can never use the Blood Fountain. Whereas if I crack it now and then the Glint Hawk trades off or whatever, they can get it later, but I just don't know if I have the mana to hold this up forever. But we're going to start with the Synth, play whatever off of that. Honestly, a land's not the worst thing ever. Glint Hawk's pretty good too. I guess we'll activate this Relic. Exile the Dust to Dust. I'm going to swing with the Skyfisher since I have a Glint Hawk to play here. I kind of think I'm going to tap for it with this Garrison, so that if I get something to play, I'm holding up just the one for the Relic and not having to hold up two. I don't know. I might end up just popping the Relic this turn like I was saying anyway, so let's just see what I get off the Synth. Another Glint Hawk. Well, that's kind of annoying because the only artifact to pick up is the Relic, which I can't pick up, replay, and crack. I'm not just going to pick it up. So I think I play the Synth, and if I'm lucky, I hit an untapped land that lets me play Glint Hawk and crack the Relic. Otherwise, the Glint Hawk's just getting wasted, but I'm not going to let them rebuy 2 creatures in their graveyard. It's just not happening. I guess an artifacts land would be the best. Okay, well, yeah, in that case, we just waste both of those, I think. Yeah, like I said, I just can't, like, get back a Glint Hawk and a Skyfisher. They redo the Relic a million times. That's not going to work. I think I got to crack the Relic now. And I guess if we get a land, well, that's unfortunate. If we got an untapped white land, which we've got only a few of in the deck, but could have been nice. All right, we still have the potential to win this game, but it's not going great for us. If they're draws have all been pretty rough, maybe we can just start beating him down with our flyers, finish him off with the munitions in like 3 turns. We're not going to trade off here, obviously, because we want to attack them, and the Blood Fountain makes it worse for us. But of course, if they just play a Skyfisher, kind of hard for us to attack. Mirror Enforcer, okay. I can attack past that, but obviously that makes the race a little harder. Start with a Skyfisher on the Synth. Oh, I should have just tapped the Radiant Fountain. White, colorless, and then I could replay this with the red. That was probably wrong. We have no artifacts except for the Synth for this Galvanic Blast. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it's still not bad. We are trying to race, and even just a couple damage is reasonable here. Throw it at them, and I'm just going to Garrison back this Radiant Fountain, and we'll Synth next turn. They're going to crack the Bauble. I mean, we have 6 damage in the air. They can block 2 of it, so 4. So if I can find like a Bolt, then the munitions will be lethal. They cast down, and I had F6'd, so I didn't munitions that when I should have. So let's un-F6. If they get to Cryogen down one of these, yep, that's pretty bad. So all their damage is gone. They attack for 6. Refurb, pretty brutal. Discard the Fountain. Lightning Bolt. Play the Synth. Galvanic. 5 damage. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 things to throw. I mean, we're real close. So I'm going to throw the Synth here. Lembas, okay. So play a Lembas. Rustvale Bridge. Honestly, a bridge isn't bad. Like, it's a land drop, so then it's still not quite Metalcraft, but I can Galvanic them to 7. I have a Bolt. Well, I'm probably going to chump, throw that. They're down to 6. Then I have a Bolt, and then this is an artifact land. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. And if they try to kill the Glint Hawk, I can still just pick off the Refurb, so we'll lose 1 damage at them. Swing with the team. Chump. I guess by throwing this, let's think this through real quick. If I throw this, they could Refurb me, and I'd lose the Bolt. By throwing this, they go to 6. That means Bolt plus what I have is exactly lethal. Whereas if I let this go and I Bolt them, I just need to find any artifact or creature for cheap enough. I think I throw it, but if they have like a Glint Hawk into pick up the Refurb, then I lose the Bolt, and I have to draw another Bolt or I'm going to lose. Or I'm not going to win anyway. Yep, there's the Skyfisher. Ugh. And that 1 damage that I missed from the Skyfisher when I was F6'd. They're also doing the smart thing of picking up the Glint Hawk so they can have more untapped blockers. The 1 damage I missed could be relevant, because if I top deck like an Inspector here, that would be 5 things to throw, and they're at 6. Oh, gosh. Oh, and I even have exactly enough mana. No, I have 1 more mana than I need. Oh, gosh. Okay, well, I can block. I can sack the Lembas to gain life. I might not be dead here. So, block, throw this. So I need a mana for that. I need 2 mana for the Lembas. I think I cracked the clue. More than likely, it finds me something that's worth at least 1 damage. If I'm lucky, it finds me like a Bolt or something that's worth more than that. Seeker of the Way. If I play that, I can't Lembus and munitions, which means I'll be wasting a damage. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I can play that. Oh, I'm so annoyed. This is why you never F6. It's not really true. I had the munitions. You never F6 if you have any way to do anything ever. And I had the munitions and 1 mana up, so I knew I shouldn't have done that. Tithing Blade, I can't sack to the munitions. That just might kill me, actually. I could sack both of these to the munitions in response, but then I'm gonna die. Yep, so I just lose this, which means now I have to chump here and then crack the Lembus. I go to 1. Yeah, crack the Lembus, throw this at them. I guess if I like synth into, crack the synth into double bolt, I can still get there. Actually, I have 1 artifact land to throw, and I have a Seeker. So yeah, actually just 1 lightning bolt does it. I've already used a bolt, 2 blasts, 3 blasts, and 2 bolts. So I have 2 lightning bolts to draw. That doesn't do it. Block, I can throw. Nope, I'm dead. Oh my gosh. Tap, that F6 just screwed us over. I absolutely could have just won that if I had thrown that Skyfisher, because then we were 1 damage short. Oh, I'm so annoyed. All right, let's try to bring it back. We have like 7 minutes left, which should be plenty, but it is a grindy matchup, so let's try to play a little fast while not making mistakes, ideally. Oh my god. Triple Dust to Dust against the Affinity opponent. I mean, I think I have to keep that, right? We draw 1 land and we win the game, I think. Like, if we don't draw a land, maybe we'll just lose. But I cannot imagine mulliganing this against... If we only had 1 land, it would be a really unfortunate one, but I would have to mulligan. But I think this should just win us the game. So we get to take their 2 lands, and then I just wait until they have 2 more lands, and I take those away. Yeah, this should be good. And I deserve this after throwing last turn. So I could exile the Relic. Honestly, not a terrible idea, because if they have a Glinthawk here, they could get it back. But I kind of think if they bounce it back, all of their lands, except for maybe 1, are going to be artifacts. So I just don't think there's a reason I need to do that. So let's just synth here. Okay, I'll play a Bolt. We also have a good amount of burn in hand, so it shouldn't even take too long to finish off the game, ideally. They could also play an untapped land, hold up like a Metallic Rebuke, which could keep them in the game, potentially. But if they Tithing Blade, I think I'm going to be okay with that. We will just do this again. They Bajuka Bog, that's their 1 non-artifact land. Okay, they could get back into this, potentially. I would love to hit a land drop, honestly. I don't think I'm going to get rid of a Skyfisher, though. Play an Inspector. I mean, if they keep hitting their land drops, they could definitely get back into this, like I said. Especially with the Skyfisher. They're drawing incredibly. Pick up the Relic. Maybe I should have just taken the Relic and the Tithing Blade there, but I don't know. Let's Skyfisher the Synth. Mountain. Okay. I'm gonna Mountain, and I could Bolt. It's less mana efficient, but I get in for 1 damage. It's just 1. I think I wait on that till next turn. I'd rather crack a clue here. Then I can Bolt, start getting in for damage. Certainly I'll be Dust to Dusting if they play another land. There's no question about that. Oh, never mind. They have the Duress this time. Okay. I mean, I have 3 really good hits, but they're going to have to take the Dust to Dust. So, good for them. Glinthawk picks up the Tithing Blade. Looks like they might be out of lands, though. That'd be good. They might pick up the Ancient Den. Okay. If they had another Glinthawk, they could do that to get 2 of them down, which wouldn't be a bad idea, probably. Garrison. Let's just Synth. Galvanic Blast. 1, 2, 3 artifacts. Yeah, so let's take these both out. Start swinging and get munitions down. Maybe I should just wait on the munitions. If they have a 3-man charm, they could blow it up. So I might want to wait until I can actually use it. But I kind of wanted to have it down. Okay. So that I can start leaving up a mana and, you know, having ways to use our mana and not lose things, you know. You know what I'm saying. All right, I'll play a Lembus here. We don't need another land. Pick up this mountain and pass. We have plenty of artifacts. I think we should be good here with the munitions. If they blow up the munitions with a Thraben Charm, I gotta keep looking for burning creatures. They do, in fact. Okay, they're trying. I'm gonna sack this Lembus, deal them 1 damage, and they have a blue. Could hit a Pyroblast or something. We're gonna Synth and Seeker of the Way. Play this. Swing. I'll crack a clue. We even have the Galvanic. I guess I'll save that to trigger the Seeker maybe, or kill a blocker. Cast down. Okay. And a Glinthawk. See, we have gone through 2 Galvanics, 2 Lightning Bolts. Mana up. I think I just Galvanic them here. That means a Galvanic Blast is lethal. Okay, another Synth. That's all 4 on the field. Pyroblast isn't going to do us any good. Let's crack a Synth for a 2/2. Skyfisher, nice. Play that. Yeah, I'll pick up a Synth here. I still have 2 mana I can use. Play a Mountain and pass. We know they have a Cryogen and a Tithing Blade in hand. Tithing is pretty irrelevant. Gets rid of this Inspector that's not doing much anyway. Cryogen could draw them to something good. good, but like it's kind of a 2-mana do nothing at this moment. But if they don't have what they need in hand to survive, they're going to need to just do it anyway. And that's what they cast. Leaving up black for a refurb. All right, get rid of our mountain. Great Furnace. Let's play Synth into a Glint Hawk. Nice. Pick up Synth, replay it into an Inspector. Play that. I might waste a little bit, but I'm going to crack a Synth because it's just another attacker here. And we're going to swing with these two. And they got to wipe the board here, pretty much. Oh, Compass. Okay. Gains them some life. If they have like a Glint Hawk, play it again. They could survive, maybe. Okay, turn that into a swamp so they can play Cast Down. Block. They're alive at 1. Okay. Pyroblast. We're going to crack a Synth, hits a Glint Hawk, picks up a Synth, another Glint Hawk. I mean, any bolt is pretty good here because it just wins the game, but even without, I think this army of creatures that we're hitting is pretty good. Okay, there's a Galvanic Blast. Let's just hit them with that. Cast an Inspector, swing with the team. I mean, honestly, that game was way harder than I thought it was going to be considering we had triple Dust to Dust. They had 6 lands in a row before they stumbled on lands. One of them was then also the non-artifact land, and then they had the Duress. Obviously, a Duress earlier would have really helped. Like, if they had Duress on turn 2 before we were able to do that, I guess we had multiple Duresses, Dust to Dust, so that wouldn't have mattered, actually. Never mind. But if they were able to, like, survive, yeah, it was pretty close, honestly. And we threw that game too, so I'm pretty happy we were able to win this last one. This hand looks pretty solid. We're against maybe the Mirror. Could just be White Weenie. I guess given our hand, maybe I should have just played the Ancient Den and the Inspector to block, since I might not be playing anything else this turn except for the Inspector. Yeah, so I could have taken 1 less damage. Also, then I could have played a Mountain if I wanted and had a Clue token up. Yeah, land sequencing in this deck's pretty tough. Tougher than usual. And it is the Mirror. Seeing as I'm not the most experienced with this deck, I could easily see myself losing to a better opponent. Synth is a great draw there. I think we're going to cast it because our hand is pretty reliant on having it on the field. We had a Mountain, so I think now I just hold up crack a Clue. Because I could Skyfisher, but I don't want to Skyfisher the Synth. I could Skyfisher the Inspector, but that's not as much value. I have the Clue to crack, so let's just do that. And especially in a Mirror, it's all going to be about the value. So then picking up a Lembas, you know, they get better card selection, but not as much card density, which could be good. Double Galvanic's pretty good. Ooh, Seeker of the Way could be good in this match. If I Seeker here, though, I can't really play anything else. I guess I could Seeker and Journey. I'm not going to have a better target than a Skyfisher anyway. And having a Seeker going is not bad. Obviously, if they just remove it, it's not a big deal. I kind of like that. It also just lets us have 1 extra land before we start picking up our Synth. I think for all those reasons, it makes sense. Journey's going to be used on a Skyfisher at some point anyway. If they don't kill this, I start gaining life and hitting for some good damage. I guess if they have a Dawnbringer Cleric, they can blow up the Journey. That's bad. Maybe that's a reason to not. But I mean, that just means Journey's kind of useless totally. They got a Galvanic, so Seeker's going to be gone, but that's still not the end of the world. Also just did like a Thraben Charm to blow up the Journey. It looks like they have a Thraben Charm and they just realized they could do it instant speed. Okay. Well, that's going to be annoying then, because that can just bounce whatever. 1, 2, 3. Let's go with the Skyfisher, because it blocks the Skyfisher they're about to get. Dawnbringer of our own. Currently just gains 2 life. That does not do much, but I guess it's a creature. And life gain is relevant. Or it blows up my own Journey before they can. I think maybe we'll choose not to do that this time. Yep, there's the Thraben Charm. Picks up the Lembas. Yeah, pretty annoying. I mean, Journey's just bad in this matchup, clearly. So that's going to be coming out. They pick up the Synth. Get an Inspector, so Synth and Lembas in hand. Relic is fine. Okay, Garrison is our land drops, that's good. Munitions can be pretty good. Play that. I'm going to Inspector. I could hold up a Galvanic, but currently it doesn't do enough. Now with the Clue token, it will be online. So like if they kill the Skyfisher, they can get in for 4. But if we're lucky, I mean, they're chaining Synths. If we're lucky, we can get a little more burn, and then we can just burn them out with Galvanics and Munitions, because this puts them to 13. Oh, I guess they could just have a Thraben Charm for the Munitions, too. Oh, they do have a Thraben Charm, but they go for the Skyfisher. Fair enough. So let's start with a Glint Hawk on a Synth. Get a Mountain. Play the Synth again. Inspector. We still have 2 mana. Let's just... Oh, if I play a Glint Hawk, I can... No, it's fine. Let's just do this. If I play a Glint Hawk, I can double block a Skyfisher, but I think we're just holding this up. I might have to Galvanic down a Skyfisher just so I don't take too much damage here. Yeah, they're going to go straight to combat, and... Because I could just be under this same pressure. I mean, if they're at a virtual 13, we know they have a Lembas in hand, so that changes things a little bit. We have so many permanents. I'm going to take it, probably against what I should be doing. Play a Lembas, grind at the top, play a Crag, Glint Hawk, crack a Clue, Radiant Fountain. Oh boy, I feel like if I Galvanic them, I'm just gonna regret it. I feel like we're not gonna be able to get there with the burn right now. So I should have killed one of these Skyfishers earlier. Yeah, we're petering out a little bit here. Too many lands. I mean, Glint Hawk into Synth can change that, but we'll see. There's a Bolt. There's another Glint Hawk. Pick up Synth. Spectre. Play this. Bolt down the Skyfisher. Play Radiant Fountain. Swing with the Glint Hawk. Now we have the Aerial Force. They crack a Clue. These inspectors feel so useless against other inspectors. Obviously the card draw is good, but like 1 or 2 inspectors would be the same as these 4 plus cleric on the board here, and so it just feels like a waste. I think for that reason we probably cut a few of these for the sideboard. They have relics which are totally useless against us, so I'm fine if they're not cracking them, then they're, you know, they've been cards that they could get that they're not using right now. I know some lists play like Prismatic Strands, so there's a reason maybe they want to keep them around, but we are not playing those. If I attack with everything and they like block, we get in for a couple extra. I don't think that's worth it yet. We'll swing at the Flyers, see if they want to bolt them down. We're going to start throwing anything that dies. They're going to bolt the other one. All right. We have a lot more cards than they have in hands, though. They have a little bit more on the board, but not that much more. Play a Lembas. We're looking for, honestly, yeah. I'm looking for removal. I think we'll pass here. So, all right. How much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 next turn. They crack a Lembas. They know that they do it in their upkeep. They know that they're at risk of dying. We have 9 mana. Well, the double Lembas is going to be rough, but we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 things to throw on board. We have 7 damage in hand. We're definitely a little far away, but we're not that far. They do crack a relic. I guess I could they have another relic. I could spend some of my bolts and my munitions to ping off their guys, and then we can start attacking with our 5 guys. Maybe that's worth it. It just uses 8 things to kill their stuff, so I don't know. But we have a Synth into a Lembas. I mean, these are good. I will not get rid of an Inspector, certainly because it is more material to throw around. Lembas Journey does not seem very good. I'll get one anyway. Play a Relic, which is similarly useless. All right, I'm going to pass here. But yeah, if they don't develop any more creatures here, I think we go after their creatures. Because I can like throw 2 Lembases. Well, there's a Glint Hawk. We can throw a couple Lembases at a creature. I can Bolt Blast, and we can start attacking for 6. I also have a Journey. It's more consistent damage, obviously, than these. They play the full play set of relics in their main deck. That's crazy to me. It seems a little overkill, but they're not going to get got by a terror opponent, I can tell you that. I mean, I'm fine with it because it's just wasting their mana and stuff. Yeah, let's crack a Clue. There's our second relic. Glint Hawk. Oh boy. Okay. Glint Hawk is Synth. Alright, there's a Bolt. I could also just throw this all at the face, but they have 2 Lembases on board. I just don't think that's going to work very well. Let's start picking off their creatures. I'll even use the Journey because we have it. If they want to blow this up to get an extra Clue, that's fine. I guess let's just attack, because now if they block, I can throw 1 fewer thing at their Inspector to kill it. They're going to bolt down the Glint Hawk. Well, perfect. I'll throw that at the Inspector. Yeah, they're going to crack a relic here. That makes sense. Take a bunch. And I guess I'll play my second relic, which we're going to crack for clues, or card draw probably. We have 6 damage on board. I guess they start cracking at synths. They can get some creatures. There's another Inspector. Creatures don't end. I mean, I cashed in like 10, 11 raw damage to get in for 5 for a turn. I don't think it's terrible, especially because I can still just like munitions these down to get in for more damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 1, 2, 3, 15 damage I can do right now. That's not quite enough. So I'm going to crack this. Now if I get like 2 bolts, I actually could win. Galvanic. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Turn one of that into 4, so that's 14. They block 3, so that's 17 damage. It's not quite enough, but I think I'm going to keep the Galvanic in hand, and we're going to start mowing these down with Lembas. I don't think I need Lembas. I mean, if I now die to burn, that's going to be kind of unfortunate, but I think it's worth it. I think we're going to sack the Synth even, as opposed to turning them into 2/2s. Maybe that's worse. I should have probably done this first, because I could get something relevant, but whatever. Like a Lembas. Play that. We'll take burn. I'll take a Synth. Skyfisher. Sure. We have 19 cards in deck, so I think we're fine. Not going to mill out soon. Okay. Throw a Lembas. We get in for 5. I can throw another thing at this Inspector when they block. which will be this Lembas. I mean, I guess if they just get like 4 Galvanics in hand, maybe we'll lose. But they still have Lembases on board, so I think I have to do this recurring, repeat the sustainable damage of these guys. Okay, there's a Dawnbringer. That's going to blow up the munitions for sure. So that's not my favorite. I'm going to throw a land at them for 1 more damage going out. They have a Synth. Journey to Nowhere, sure, that could blow up the Skyfisher. And then they have crack Synths, so I can't even get through with these. Oh my gosh. What a mirror match. They crack a Lembas. They crack another Lembas. I mean, the relics, I guess, are relevant against the Lembases. They've kind of exiled all of ours as they've died. I have not been doing that to them, which is probably a mistake, but to be honest, there's so much to do, and I'm trying not to waste too much time because we're down a little bit on time, and this could definitely go to time. Here's a Skyfisher. Pick up a Synth. Get a bridge. We have 15 cards in deck, so we're still fine for a bit. We're hitting all lands now, though. Sustainable damage. Let's kill this Samurai. Attack with the crew. And pass. They're... Of course, yeah, I guess if they just keep cycling their Lembases, maybe they're gonna be able to survive, and like, so maybe their relics have been more relevant than I thought. They get an Inspector off this guy. Jeez. I mean, our makeshift munitions was insanely good, but there's so many creatures to get through. The Lembases are really tough to deal with. Obviously, I wasn't using the relics quite right, so I admit that. Skyfisher picks up a clue, sure. I mean, they're tapped out. I guess if we... I don't even know how much burn we have left in our deck. We've seen Galvanic, 2 bolts, 3 of each, so there's 1 of each left. So, if they're tapped out, we can hit them for probably a good amount. There's a bolt. They block. So they're taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's not quite lethal. All right, let's kill this Skyfisher then. Swing with the entire crew. They can eat an Inspector, and they can double up on an Inspector if they want, but they take an extra damage. Oh, or, yeah, Samurai, I forgot was coming in too. You go down to 5. We'll play a Seeker. Okay, so they can be at 11 here with the Lembases. There's another Skyfisher. How many creatures are in this deck? Garrison. Replay a Synth. For planes, they crack a Lembas, crack another Lembas. I'm gonna crack the relic. Might as well eat 1 Lembas when I can. Crack a clue. They have another Lembas. They haven't seen their munitions, assuming they're playing one, so that could be kind of bad for us if they get it. I mean, I don't necessarily think in this position they're gonna be able to like, kill us with it, but it could start mowing down our creatures. We get a Synth. 10 cards left in deck, that's plenty. Triggers our Seeker. Synth into Galvanic Blast. They don't have Lembas, they have 4 blockers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be lethal unless they have a... I should have cracked this Synth here in case they get another instant. But that should be lethal unless they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a Bolt. Bolt would put them to 1. They take it. Galvanic Blast for the win. Come on, Seeker. Oh my gosh. What a game 1. We did get there, but it took us forever. So we get Dust to Dust. That's it. Electricity doesn't do anything. Standard Bearer is pretty useless. Navigator's Compass could be some life gain, but I think as we saw, it's mostly about value. Like, we were able to get more value than them in the early game, the mid game, and then use that to take advantage of that with like the munitions. Journey felt really bad, and Dawnbringer Cleric didn't seem amazing, but I guess we didn't see any journeys or makeshift from them. I feel like they probably have at least a makeshift, so I guess having an answer to that would be nice. Relics, I felt like they should be taken out, but actually maybe were more relevant than I should have been tapping them. I was trying to focus on other things. If I have time, I'm going to tap them so that we can get a Lembas and catch it when it gets sacrificed, because that was more relevant than I thought. I guess we don't cut any Inspectors here. I mean, I don't have as much to bring in as I thought I would. I really don't think Compass is the way, so we're just going to cut the journeys and hope we can get there in game 2. We didn't take too much longer than them. This hand looks solid enough. Obviously, we want a Synth here. Also, we're going to play our non-artifact lands early because they probably also brought in Dust to Dust. We would like to... I mean, they're doing the same thing, obviously. We would like to not have those get blown up. I guess I'll play a Relic. They can't Dust to Dust it by itself. Even if they wanted to, that would be fine. But here's an Inspector, and probably just crack the clue right away. Yeah, there's a Dust to Dust. Obviously going to be a bit till that's useful. Like, if they only had artifact lands, obviously this would be a nice way to take them away. But it's also just good in this match to take away Lembases when they're tapped out, or Boros Synths, or Boros Synth, Experimental Synth, you know, things like that. Pachuca Bog, okay. Don't care about that, but it is a land drop. They have another Inspector. Glinthawk. I could get down a Glinthawk just picking up the Relic. We're taking 2 damage here. I think I'm fine with that. Oh, I could have taken the Clue. I probably should have dusted the Synth and the Clue. I was thinking they only had this, and I didn't obviously want to hit my Relic. I think that would have been worth it, though. Well, if they tap out here for not a Skyfisher or whatever, and I can get a Lembas and a Synth, I'd prefer that, but play a Radiant Fountain. Okay, they don't tap out, but I am going to do this, though. They can sack the Lembas. They can also maybe use what they get off of this. But the important part is that they're not going to be on their board being able to be... obviously, Lembas going back in the deck is not my favorite, but I just want them to not be able to pick them up with their flyers. Let's Garrison. Also, they exile the Lembas, so hey, I still got to exile a Lembas. Nice. Oh, also, I didn't use the Relic. God, dang it. When they sacked the Lembas, I could have exiled that, then I could have gotten another one. That was obviously... the play. Well, they have another Synth. Ancient Den. Thraben Inspector. Play the Den, crack a Clue. Come on, give us a Synth and we're in a pretty dang good spot, I think. I'm going to have to play one of these this turn. This is too much damage to be taking. Yep. So let's just Skyfisher back the Relic. We also have a Bolt, so if they just kill the Skyfisher, I'll maybe Bolt an Inspector, but they crack a Clue. Yep, there's the Bolt. Skyfisher. Well, I'll probably kill that then. Pick up the Synth. Dawnbringer Cleric. Sure. I guess let's use this. They gain a couple life. If we don't get a Synth, this is just, you know, or a Lembas even. We're just going to lose because we're not getting any value at all. I mean, we're already in a pretty rough spot, but doing what we can. Dust to Dust can hit an Ancient Den, and that's it? Well, here's a Glinthawk. Maybe I should just pop this Relic, actually. I think that's worth it at this point. Yeah, I should have done it first, because if I find a Synth, it would have been really good, but we just found more land, so it doesn't even matter. I have a Galvanic. Well, it looks like it's going to be a fast game 2 here, probably. Lembas, Scry to the bottom, Synth, find a Plains, crack the Lembas, Dawnbringer Cleric. Well, I'm going to dust the Ancient Den, mostly because I want to get rid of the Synth. They got a Windscar Crag, so that doesn't matter. Play a Dawnbringer Cleric, it'll gain some life. Play an Ancient Den. I guess I'm going to hold on to the Glinthawk again. Still lets them attack in, but, well, they've been doing a very good job getting their Synths, even though I keep exiling them. They also are playing Prismatic Strands, maybe in the sideboard or whatever. They're going to have to cast it just so that it doesn't get permanently exiled, but pretty good to have in their graveyard. They are running low-ish on cards, so if I could just find a Synth, maybe we'll be okay. There it is. I should just tap the Garrison for that, because I'm going to definitely play the Glinthawk, but probably fine. Lembas is decent. Let's play that. Anything that's not a land is pretty welcome. There we go. Skyfisher for a Synth. Mountain, we'll play the Synth again. Bolt, okay. We're nowhere near killing them, so we might as well just kill one of their guys. Do I also want to Glinthawk this turn? I think I'd rather have the value from the Synth, plus I can crack the Lembas. Okay, they're going to Prismatic Strands just to keep a Dawnbringer alive. I'm okay with that. I mean, I guess they're killing us pretty quickly here, so maybe it's worth it, but they have a Glinthawk. Pick up the Synth for a Skyfisher. Thraben Inspector. Bounce the Synth, hit a Lembas. Do they even have lands in their deck? They're just hitting all the spells they want to hit. Scry at the bottom, play that Inspector. Bolt down the Skyfisher, block, crack our Lembas. Seeker of the Way. Don't think that's going to be doing much good for us. Pick up the Synth, we get a Bolt, replay that. Bolt the Skyfisher, play the Thraben, crack a Clue, and pass. Replay Synth, get a Glinthawk for an Ancient Den. Replay the Synth for another Prismatic Strands. Crack a Clue. Galvanic Blast down the Seeker. Cast the Prismatic. No, they do have their Dust to Dust. Fair enough. Exiling the Synth. Swing with the team. Block here. I think we just double up on one of these. When we take 5. It's not great either way. Maybe I just eat an Inspector with a Glinthawk there too. I think Munitions is probably a little late. Here's a Synth. And play that, play Munitions. I guess we'll throw this at a Glinthawk. Throw the Synth at a Glinthawk. We get a Great Furnace. I could have cracked it for a 2/2. That probably would have been a little better, but what are you going to do? Dawnbringer Cleric. I only have 1 land to throw, and I'm not going to throw these guys, so yeah, we'll just let that go. Double block an Inspector. Go to 2. I mean, we die to any burn here. Alright, well, game 3. That was a rough one for sure. I think we kept a reasonable hand. We just needed to draw an artifact, and we did not draw it for like 5 to 7 turns, I think. Alright, this one's good enough. I mean, if we're lucky with this Dust to Dust, they have to keep a hand that's a lot of artifact lands, and then we get our second white, and then we're able to blow them up, but maybe not. We do get our second white. I'm just going to Lembas here. Yeah, I think we've seen that Inspectors win this matchup. They'll swing for 1, and they're just going to crack their clue. Let's play a synth. Dust to dust, I mean, that's annoying. Just a waste of what we get off the synth, and also dust dust would be really good later. Obviously not what we wanted this turn, even if I could cast it, but whatever. There is a risk in bringing in the 3 drops here. Bog, we get another synth. Okay, see what that gives us. A bolt. I'm gonna bolt the inspector. Lets us start attacking in. We can crack some clues. It's all about keeping the creatures off the field. Pick up the Lembas, cast it again. We'll crack a clue. All right, another bolt. We get a synth. All right, play that. I would love some Glint Hawks, but guess I'm not complaining. Bolt that down, and should I just? I'm gonna just crack a synth. I think we just want, of course we lose the Galvanic. I think I just want the pressure here. It might be rough if they then play a bunch of inspectors, they just bolt a couple of our guys, but the fact that I have another removal spell, if they just keep like replaying this Lembas, not the end of the world. Well, there's an inspector. I don't know. And they're holding up clue or maybe removal of their own. Skyfisher. I could dust to dust, but they just crack the clue. That's not really worth it. Something to think about though. You get a synth, replay that. Great Furnace. Play the Glint Hawk. Pick up a synth. That's gone. We're gonna Galvanic Blast the Skyfisher. Starting with the team. Possible I should have picked up the Lembas instead of the synth there. I mean, it would have made a difference here, and then next turn it'd cost an extra mana, but I'd get to scry. I don't know. Consideration for sure. Another Inspector. Gumming up the ground, but if they can't get a flyer, we can maybe hit for a little bit in the air. I mean, we're going to attack with everything regardless, probably. Maybe not the Inspectors, but if they then want to double block the Samurai, we get in for 2. They want to double block an Inspector, we get in for 3 on the ground, so I think that's probably worth it still. They 3-man charm down the Glint Hawk. They go for that over the Skyfisher, because if I had a bolt in response, it would be a disaster for them. Obviously, I did not, and I was F6'd, so... we do have a dust to dust to take these 2. That's not terrible. And we get the munitions again. Pretty lucky finding the munitions, I will say, every time. Yeah, we're just going to attack now. If they go for a double block, then it's fine. Because I can deal them 5 here. I might just let this go, and because I want to get rid of this Lembas real bad. Yeah, let's just do that. Well, I guess I play the munitions. If they have a way to blow it up and I don't use it, it's kind of bad. But I think it's better to get rid of the Lembas and the clue here. I don't know. They synth. Find a Seeker. Oh, they are playing Seeker the way. We haven't seen that at all. Not too worried about that. We can munitions it down so that it doesn't gain any life if need be. They have a dust to dust. Okay, double hit synth. That's annoying for sure. Skyfisher Fountain. They have a bolt up as well. Let's start with a Lembas. I'm looking for creatures and removal like that. I mean, Galvanic Blast plus munitions is plus... an attack with a Skyfisher is just lethal here. This doesn't really attack that profitably. If they have the bolt, it's not quite lethal. But if they don't, then it is. Galvanic Blast, munitions to finish them off. And no Prismatic Strands I need to worry about. Oh, okay, that was a crazy mirror match. We both ended with 7 minutes on clock, which is honestly not bad. This game ended a little faster than I was expecting. But the other games were quite grinds. All right, this hand looks pretty solid. We're against some sort of black artifact deck. Start with an Inspector. Next turn we can do Relic Garrison. Okay, it could be mono black, like Packdoll Gardens or something. In which case, I could Lembas here, but I think I want to get the red mana down. And I don't mind getting the Relic down because if they are some sort of Gardens deck, the Relic can be pretty relevant. Pachuca Bog, and we're just gonna pass. So probably just Lembas Craig here. Let's start with the Lembas. Definitely keep a synth. They're going to go for the Throat or Inspector. Okay, definitely a black control deck then. And Thorn of the Black Rose. Okay, sure. Makes sense. In that case, I probably, I might want to synth Skyfisher. I need to get a Skyfisher down, so I think I just Skyfisher Lembas rather than messing around with the synth and potentially, whiffing on it. Journey could be, I already have some removal. I'm going to get a Journey anywhere. That's the second time that's happened. If they have like control of Khazad-dûm or something, Journey's going to be decent. Obviously, they probably just have another removal spell for this, though. I'm trying to look for more creatures. Yeah, Tithing Blade, because Monarch can be pretty brutal. I mean, we kind of... Yeah, it is definitely Gardens then with the Mire, so we also have to worry about the initiative. Really need more creatures then. Okay, Seeker of the Way is a creature. I think I'm going to synth 2 just in case I can find another one though, so I can play 2 at once. Just a Lightning Bolt. I guess we're going to bolt this. They have the Fanatical. A little annoying for sure, but it blocks our Seeker of the Way, so obviously if this is to survive and get the Monarch, we're going to need to have that guy dead anyway. Shambling Ghast and a Colony Garden. I mean, I could technically wipe both of these away if I want to. Theoretically, if they don't have a removal spell, That could get me the Monarch. You know, I think I probably will, but I'll probably just do it with the munitions, so I don't have to waste actually good cards. Although I still have to throw cards that are not the best here. The chances they have a removal are so high, I don't think it's actually worth it since I have to like throw real cards. So let's just start with a Skyfisher on a Synth, get more creatures down. Bolt is fine. Recast the Synth. I guess if this hits a red spell, I'm gonna waste it. Yeah, I realized that after I cast it. It's annoying. Swing with the Seeker, and I'm going to Galvanic Blast them. Might as well do it and gain an extra life from the Seeker. They cast it down, so be it. It was going to get blocked a million times anyway, but that probably means they have another removal spell for the Skyfisher. We're cracking a clue here, though. I could, you know, crack the Relic to prevent the Lembas from coming back, but I don't think that's my highest priority. Refurb. Gonna take this Journey to Nowhere. Map onto it. Yeah, that makes it harder to munitions down. Kind of annoying. They leave a Wellspring on top. That's going to be in hand. Crack a clue. So let's start with the Synth. We get a Great Furnace. We'll play that, play munitions. Well, we're going to hope they don't have removal. I'm going to bolt the Refurb so I can get in with the Skyfisher. Of course, I'm not that hopeful. Yep, they do. I'm going to pick off the Geist, the Ghast rather, when I don't have anything for it to shrink and just, you know, waste it. It's also a creature that could take back the Monarch at some point. I could also have just cracked a Synth to get a guy there, but I don't know. Definitely not in a great spot since we cannot take this Monarch back. They might not be playing Avenging Hunters and stuff because they're clearly the artifact version with, I would assume Pact Altair is the main reason. Well, that and Refurb are the reasons to play artifacts. Flip a Tithing Blade, okay. I think I'd like to draw something enough that we're going to crack this Relic now. Galvanic Blast. Yeah, we're going to save that. Nothing there. Crack a Synth. Just getting planes. If I crack another Synth, it's just kind of bad when we hit a Glinthawk, but we still have a Lembas, so I guess we go for it. We hit a Lembas. I'm going to cast that. Seeker's fine, I guess. I mean, I want to keep creatures. These die to a Crypt Rats pretty easily, or even a Drowned in Sorrow if they play that main deck. Seeker gets blocked easier than a Flyer, but don't really want to turn it away. If this is, you know, if their goal is to like block and then kill one of these, then I can like munitions it down. But yeah, there's the Crypt Rats, of course. Activate right away. Cycle a Troll for a Witch's Cottage. Get the Crypt Rats back. Ugh. This is kind of why I wanted the Relic to stay around, but I just was drawing so poorly I needed to crack it, I think. I could have held it longer, but... And there's a Blood Fountain. Spell Bomb. I mean, they don't have that many cards, but the Monarch is obviously just going to keep remedying that. Inspector's not bad. Crack a Clue. Rustvale Bridge. I think I just pass. Like, I could play the Seeker, but then they both died to the Crypt Rats. If maybe Crypt Rats is their only removal spell, they're going to have to play it against the Inspector, which obviously they're going to try to draw out of, but... I mean, I think our real win con here is munitions. Tithing Blade. The problem is these Tithing Blades are going to make that really difficult to win, because, like, Galvanic, they're at a virtual 12. Munitions, you know, that's why I played my Artifact land rather than a Windscarred Crag. So we have 4 of those on the field, 2 Lembuses. Galvanics, that's 10 damage, but I assume they're going to flip another Tithing. We don't have any artifact removal in the main deck, but if I can, like, chain Synths into... Nope, we'll just keep drawing lands. Theoretically, if I could chain Synths into a good amount of burn, I think we could have a shot. Unfortunately, since we know about the Crypt Rats, even chaining a Synth into a Glinthawk into a Synth into a Glinthawk isn't that beneficial. Like, we'll still do it, but like no matter how much we fill up the board, we're gonna lose to this Crypt Rats. Swing with the Refurb. I mean, Crypt Rats can deal us 8 right now. Yeah, they are gonna cast it because they can just pop it for a bunch of damage and then Blood Fountain it back. Or they're just gonna use it right now. Interesting. For just a couple. I mean, I guess the Tithing Blades are already doing most of the damage. They don't need to Crypt Rats for a whole bunch. Put themselves in range of dying to burn. This puts them to 15. Yeah. I guess I should technically sack a Lembas because I am losing life here, but I don't really think this is going to make much of a difference. Like, I'd like it to be around for the munitions, but that's so far off, and we are dying quickly enough that the extra 3 life could matter. But we need to keep one of them, obviously, for a bird off the top. There it is. And Crypt Rats is in the grave. They do have a Blood Fountain, but I guess if we can find our other relic, that wouldn't be terrible either. Oh, Dawnbringer? That's a creature, and it gets rid of the Crypt Rats. I'm going to do that. Crypt Rats is our biggest problem, so I'm going to play the Mountain. If we do chain things off, if we get really lucky, we can chain things off, and we might use all our mana. If they try to, you know, refurb away our Galvanic, I'll just shoot them with it. Flashback their Eviscerator's Insight. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Yeah. If I don't get anything here, I'm going to have to Galvanic Blast and munitions to kill that. Although if I don't get anything here, I think we're done. I think this is kind of our last chance, honestly. Well, I mean, I guess I won't actually give up, but drawing another land, not quite what we wanted there. Pick this guy off. Swing. Oh, we do take the Monarch. I totally forgot about that. Jeez. Okay, well, I still think we're dying, but there was so much other stuff going on that I totally forgot about the Monarch being a thing, which is Counter's control. I guess we could get out of this. I was just worried about we're losing 2 life a turn, which is still bad. The blood fountain, all this stuff. They're gonna play a troll again, but I have the bolt for that. But yeah, I guess we're not technically dead yet. Refurb takes the bridge. Okay, well, we gotta bolt down the troll. And then wait till the end step just so they can't like buy back and replay it or whatever. Or buy back something else with it and replay it. We're going to throw a couple lands. I still need this Lembas in case we draw another Glinthawk. We could pick off the refurbs so that we don't lose the Monarch. Lembas is definitely a great draw. I guess with the life gain from the Lembases, we can maybe stay afloat. I don't really have the mana to sack them now, though. Galvanic Blast. I could just pick these both off, start attacking for 3, but they're gaining 2. Burn is not the way. We're not going to be able to get there through Burn alone. They already have a refurb in the graveyard, so picking these both off doesn't make a difference. So we save that for the next troll they're going to get back, which I guess we're not saving it for anything if we discard it to a refurb. Well, at least they won't draw a card. Another Lembas. Troublemaker Oof on the munitions. That's our livelihood. Yeah, I don't know how we win now. We needed that pretty badly. Pulse back the troll. Okay. Well, if they're not going to Blood Fountain, then I can Journey the Troll. They already used Troublemaker, which was in their main deck. Good to know about. We're going to sack the Lembas because we have another one, and we need the life pretty desperately. Galvanic. Start with a Lembas. I guess I keep another Journey? No, we already have removal in our hand. I'll get rid of it. I mean, if they have another Troublemaker to get rid of the Journey, it's not great, but we're going to do this, and then I have a Galvanic for the Troublemaker. I guess they will have another. If I kill the Troublemaker, then they can get it back with the Blood Fountain. So let's not kill the Troublemaker if we can help it. Draw our other Lembas. I mean, if we draw a Lembas every single turn, crack it every single turn, then we're staying above the Sepulchers. They Troublemaker, and then they can just activate it for lethal. Well, I have a Lembas to do in response. They're gonna Blood Fountain back some refurbs. Sure. Crypt Rats for 5. I'll use the Lembas in response. Refurb takes away the Ancient Den. Second refurb, I guess, gets rid of the Galvanic Blast, and I gotta find something with the Lembas. One Galvanic Blast is not gonna keep the Monarch for us. It's not gonna do much. I mean, it could kill one of these, and if I draw another removal spell, I kill the other, but the Monarch alone's not saving me either. I mean, we've drawn the Lembases an impeccable number of times. Not really sure it's gonna get us there, but jeez. Okay, well, now it's too many Lembases. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a little ridiculous. Come on. Well, they get the Monarch back. I guess theoretically they could mill out, but that's 9 turns away probably. I mean, if they draw more, now it's only 8 turns away. Seems tough to make happen. We do have a lot of life gain in hand. They have an oof for the Journey. Yeah, that's tough though. And they have a Campfire, so that's just not going to happen. All right, well, I think we've lost, but to be honest, this is going to be yet another one that's going to come down to grinding out. I shouldn't have played this. I should have played the Lembas and I could have cracked all 3. But it's going to be grindy, so we'll see if we can use up a little more time, I guess. I mean, I can go up to 10, 8. I can't block that. Yeah, I guess I'm probably just dead. They Insight and activate the Campfire. Sure. So their stuff goes back into their deck. Swing, and we're gonna take it. Alright, well, Dust to Dust should be okay here. Hits Tithing Blades and also hits some lands. Not a lot, but, they have some more artifacts. Looks like it's probably just for the refurbs, as opposed to the Pactals, which I thought maybe initially. We didn't see any Avenging Hunters, though. We did see a Shambling Ghast. I mean, I don't think any of these are useful. Journey is good for the Trolls, but really annoying that they have the Troublemaker Oof in the main deck. I mean, I guess they'd be here either way. I don't want to take out any creatures because of the Monarch. Journey is our best way to get rid of a Troll. If they didn't have so much life gain, I think a Burn Wind would have been very viable, so I don't want to get rid of those. Well, I don't want to get rid of any creatures, but I think Dawnbreakers just aren't enough. It was kind of nice to exile that Crypt Rats that one time, but maybe Seekers, because they don't give us any value at all if they just die, are worth cutting here. And the life gain's kind of irrelevant. Yeah, I guess we'll cut Seekers and a Journey. Alright, we need white mana, but we have Lembas to outfind it. We have Synth. Seems alright. Alright, we find the white mana. Let's just play a Lembas here. Skyfisher's good. Try to get off to a fast-ish start. I mean, we're not going to have creatures till turn 4, but still. Cycle a Troll for a Mire. Yeah, I could have just played the tap land last turn, and then this turn I would have been able to Lembas Inspector. That probably would have been better. I could crack a Lembas now. That doesn't give us much value, though. I think we'll just leave it. Unfortunate that I'm wasting a couple mana, though, especially with like a Inspector that could have cracked a clue or whatever. All right, we're going to Synth into Dust to Dust. Of course, why wouldn't it be into Dust to Dust? Let's play Olympus, pick up our Skyfisher, pick up our Olympus. They have a Tithing Blade. Maybe I should have played around Tithing Blade. I don't know. Wellspring. Cast Lembus. Glinthawk is good. Glinthawk the Synth. So we have 2 mana to play whatever here. Or we get a Great Furnace. So I can play that, play an Inspector. See, literally this turn, well, not right there, because we only had 1 white, but like, well, I could have played a Plains. Like, this turn, you know, Dust to Dust would be fine now, because I could, like, take care of a couple of these that are relevant. Crypt Rat's pretty annoying. Munitions. We're going to swing. They're going to take a couple. Okay. Well, I'm going to play the munitions, and if they want to let that resolve, then I can at least get a little more damage out of these guys. Okay. So I played a land already, so I don't really want a synth, but also this lets me hold up Clue. They're trying to make sure I don't have any creature at the end step here. I gotcha. Like to play after, which means they're going to Monarch, probably. But holding that mana up let me use the munitions there and also Clue token, but Monarch's pretty annoying. Jukebox fine. I mean, they're at 14. We have a munitions and a Galvanic in hand. We can maybe get them through burn. Let's start with a synth. Great Furnace. Play a Lembus. We don't want lands, please. Play an Inspector. I'll pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another Lembus. Yeah, I mean, we're a little far away from it, but if we get another blast and get in for, or get some more artifact lands and stuff, we might be able to get there. Crack a Clue. Skyfisher. I could go for 2 removal spells on these guys to try to get the Monarch, but I just think the chances are that they have at least 1 removal spell. I think the chances are enormous. Oh, actually, let's play a synth from exile. Ancient Den. Well, I'm gonna think I have another synth. I'm gonna crack this one. We get a Lembus. Well, it taps us out, but I'm not gonna waste that. It gets another creature, which is good if they don't get a Crypt Rats. To be honest, though, if they do another Crypt Rats, they can exile the one from the grave, and it's just a creature. Sure, we'll keep. If they do another Crypt Rats and deal themselves some damage, you know, maybe we can get there. I don't love being tapped out here for munitions, though. If we lose any creatures, we're losing damage on them. We have 3 lands. Great Furnace, or 4 lands, 4 or 5. Oh, they have a Weather the Storm, of course. Why would they? They're gonna swing. I mean, this probably means they have a Crypt Rats, but I'm not gonna block. Yep. 3 damage to everything. Refurb. Rot Farm. Wouldn't mind finding, that's good, a Relic of Progenitus. Pick this up. Play a Mountain. I'm just gonna bolt them. I can just pick this off for 1 damage and not waste the excess. Dawnbringer. Exile one of the Crypt Rats. I mean, there's 2 of them, but if, I mean, I could have picked up the Dawnbringer with the Skyfisher to get rid of the second one. Maybe that could have been better. I just feel like the value from the synth is probably too much, but I guess the Crypt Rats is pretty brutal here, as always. There's the oof, so we're going to lose our munitions. I'm going to pick off the refurb first. I could kill the Troublemaker oof too by throwing 2 more Lembuses. I have this to pick up. I don't need the life gain. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I can take the Monarch here, potentially. And the munitions is going away, so I might as well. Like, if they play another creature, or refurb or whatever, then I'll still have a Galvanic Blast to get rid of it. Or a Journey. I don't know. Or they just, like, double removal spell, and we won't be able to do anything about it. Yep. Alright, play a synth. Glinthawk's a good draw. Pick this back up. Lembus is pretty good. We have a ton of mana still, though, so let's play this again. Okay, let's play the Lembus. We have a Bolt. There's no Storm. Okay, Dust to Dust is pretty good / important for the Tithing Blades, I think, so that they don't gain a bunch of life. They have no mana, yeah, so there's no way they can weather the Storm here. Plenty of artifacts, so do I just Tithing now, or Dust to Dust now? I'd probably wait for them to, like, flip them. Yeah, I think so. Then they could have a mana to, like, offering them in response, but they already have a million things to offering. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. They do flip a Tithing Blade, and they cast down, sure. Colony Gardens, play a Lembus, keep an Inspector, is an attacker, crack a Clue, Ancient Den. I don't want them to gain any life off of this, so I'm going to do it now, even though they haven't flipped the second one, and we'll pass. There's an oof for the synth. I was just thinking about sacking the synth to get a 2/2. Now it feels like it would have been worth it. Yep, it's not helpful. Drowned in Sorrow. They must have drawn that off of the Wellspring, because otherwise they would not have done it in that order, I don't think. Unless they want it dead so they can buy it back. That's not a terrible idea, I guess. Campfire. Yeah, I feel like the only way we could maybe win this is with burn at this point, but Campfire Lembuses, it's just not gonna happen, I don't think. Dawnbringer Cleric. I guess I'll exile the other Crypt Rats since we have not found a Relic of Progenitus. And they have, like, the Pulsamoras in response. No, they activate the Campfire. Okay, yeah, maybe that's their only Crypt Rats left and they really wanted it. Okay, well, I mean, that means they're not getting life off the Campfire, so that's something. They Offering, an Insight, found a Noof again, go for a Furnace, sure. Refurb, that's why I kept this Plains, Bolt. Well, I don't think we're going to burn them out, so let's try to take the Monarch. We have 11 damage in hand after all that, and they still just have Olympus and everything. Yeah, they have the cast down. No surprise. Pulse of Marasa back a Refurbished Familiar. I guess I'll keep the Journey because it gets rid of a Troll, which is scarier than a Refurb. Well, we got a Galvanic anyway. They Offering, they Flashback an Insight, they Fanatical the Lembas, draw a million. There's a Troll, another Oof, gets rid of a Bridge, and another Thorn, and another Campfire. Dust to Dust. Well, I guess we can hit these two. I can Journey the Troll, and I have a Galvanic Blast for one of these two, which has got to just be the Oof so that I take less damage, I think. If there's any way I win this, I mean, they've gone through 2 Campfires, so it could be them milling out in 11 turns. It could be from them timing out in 6 minutes. Neither of those feels super likely, but they are the only ways I have to win, I believe. They have the 3rd Oof. Yep, that's going to get the Journey. Sack Olympus, and they have a Refurb. We get an Inspector. This is where the comeback starts. Synth, into a Bolt. Let's crack this for a 2/2, into an Ancient Den. Amazing. Bolt down the Refurb. Flashback and Insight to draw 2. Cast down the Samurai. That's no fair. We'll take 9. Another Troll, and another Troll. Now we just need our Crypt Rats, and boom. They won't see it coming. Refurb. Inspector. Skyfisher, ooh. Put away a land, get a Glint Hawk. I mean, this is kind of what we needed forever ago, but we need 9 blockers just to block these trolls, so unfortunately, I tried my very best, but we were not able to get there against Gardens. Alright, last round here, we have too many flyers, unfortunately. This one's good, although no artifacts, so we're going to be looking for that. But I think with the Garrison, I can get greedy-ish and put back the Great Furnace. Although I guess that makes the draw a little awkward because I could play an Inspector, but I can't crack the Clue right away. I still think that's what we want to do. It's so much value. Each of these birds, I kind of hate to get rid of one of them. Play an Inspector, and we're against walls of some variety. I mean, Journey's going to be good. To be honest, any walls we're probably going to want to race. If it's Spy or Regular, that kind of makes me want to Glint Hawk the token to get started on some damage. We already have a good amount of value, and we're waiting on a land, or rather an artifact. Clue to crack is pretty good, but I think we're going to do that, actually. Not my favorite thing ever to do, but Inspector's not dealing any damage. We have, you know, a good amount of removal in the deck and 1 in hand, but we need to make something happen pretty quick here, and it looks kind of like regular walls to me, just because they haven't had to use any special reasons, any special ways to get basics. Journey's good, but it's also sorcery speed, which is not as great as our bolts. They play a battlement. Okay, well, I'm going to probably Journey that. Galvanic Blast, but that doesn't currently deal enough. So, yeah, I think I'm going to Journey this, and I'm going to Glint Hawk back this land. Try to keep the pressure up. Swing for 3. Another Wall of Roots. They do Roost Seek here. Still doesn't necessarily indicate... Okay, Swamp means it's going to be Spy. We do have 2 relics in our main deck, so finding one of those would be nice. Lead the Stampede, 1 card left in hand. They find a Vandal, which can get back this guy maybe. Fiend. I mean, if they play Vandal for this, and then we find a relic, maybe it's good. But if we find a relic here, then there's nowhere for it to hide between a Vandal and a Fiend. Currently, there's no creature for the Vandal, but... they could probably change that. That also makes me want to not bolt anything down. And if I want to play the Skyfisher, I can't actually hold up a red. I think I'm just going to Skyfisher replay the Inspector. If they Fiend, they can take whatever. A Wildling is actually something I'd want to bolt to get out of my way. I mean, if they don't draw Spy or anything, we're not in a terrible spot. But if they do, we just lose. But holding up one of these bolts doesn't change that. Roost Seek with the Wildling. Play a Forest. 6 mana here. And they have another Wildling as their one of the 2 unknown cards. Okay. They could also then Fiend. They don't, because they want to save it for the turn they go off. Galvanic Blast does not kill anything. Well, it kills this Wall of Roots, but currently it's only 2, which means I might as well bolt this down. That's going to let them Vandal either our land or this, but I think that's what we have to do. And I'm going to crack the Clue. I mean, I would like to have the lands for the Galvanic Blast, but I just don't think not cracking the Clue is going to help here. We left up a red, so Glint Hawk can't do anything with it, but we're going to bolt this down. I mean, we do have a relatively fast clock here if they don't have any other flyers or, you know, just get their win. Winding Way finds an Ent and a Troll, but not a Spy. That could pull out their last land, assuming they're playing 5. I mean, if they can't do anything here, and then we're able to get a red mana, and we could just double Galvanic them after hitting for 6. That'd be pretty cool. Although if they have no way to gain life, no reachers, no way to win the game, then I feel like they might just Fiend to try to make sure they don't die here. They cycle the end. Forest. I also could, like, theoretically get a Synth into a Great Furnace very specifically, which would give me Metalcraft, and then I could still Galvanic Blast. So, like, through this Fiend, that still potentially gives us a way to win, because I'm sure they're going to take one of these. Yep. But that's, like, the only way that I can see getting Metalcraft this turn. I guess they're going to Vandal too. Probably just take our land, because they don't really need more mana here. No, they do go for the Journey. Fair enough. Yeah, I think that way to get Metalcraft is like the only way we can win this turn. Oh, actually, Lembas. Lembas into an artifact land would also work. We gotta keep the red floating. I could do this post-combat. I don't really think that makes any difference. Mountain is not enough. In fact, it doesn't even let us do the Glinthawk this turn since I already had to float the red. So let's just get rid of that. Inspector. Yeah. I guess now I have to choose what I want to Galvanic. I could go for them, but I guess if they get like another Wildling or Ent, some way to gain life, it would really make sense to go for them or for the Fiend, because I still keep the Galvanic and then maybe... Oh, well, and then I get Metalcraft next turn with the Inspector, and I can't kill anything else that's super relevant. I could kill like a Wall of Roots to prevent them from getting 1 mana. I don't know. I think it makes sense to just kill the Fiend here, because that gives us lethal on them next turn, even through like a Wildling, which could gain them 3 in block. They have 1 unknown and they get to top deck here, but... I think it's gotta win them the game. Even a blocker shouldn't do it. I guess if they like lead the Stampede into 2 Wildlings they can play, maybe that would work. Start with the lead the Stampede. And they find double Wildling, double Spy. So either way now they can just win. That's really annoying. We don't have a sideboard at all for them. I don't love that. We do have the 2 relics in the main deck, to be fair, and we have a good amount of removal in the main deck, but still. Dawnbringer Cleric can exile a creature from a graveyard. Exiling 1 doesn't do that much. Maybe it can hold off a Masked Vandal, but I don't really think so. And they just get blocked. I guess Standard Bearer doesn't do anything. Compass, just gaining life is pretty irrelevant. Electricer can hit Quirions that they play, and maybe you can finish off some guys if they chump, but like Seekers can get big enough to be relevant, I guess. I guess the Dawnbringers are probably better than Thrabins. Like these just don't really do much. Makeshift feels probably too little, too late either, but like if we get into a spot like that and I have actually been able to accumulate my mana a little bit better, it could be okay. I don't know. Spy is prevalent enough that I kind of think there should be a couple Thraben Charms in the sideboard here. Yeah, 1 land's not going to do it. All right, this one's not bad. I'm going to get rid of a land because we're still already looking for red mana, so I'm already looking for a land. I don't really want to need 4, you know? And I'm going to get rid of the plains. This leaves us more susceptible to Masked Vandal, but we're already going to be susceptible to 1 of them. If they get a second, so be it. But I think we saw last game why the Metalcraft is not always a guarantee on Galvanic Blast. If we had the Metalcraft, we would have won that turn when they fiended us, and pretty annoying that we were not able to. But also, we already played against a couple Dust to Dust matchups where I'm sure having fewer artifact lands was beneficial. So I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do, it's just something to keep in mind. Alright, Electricity, Lightning Bolt. Nothing on turn 1 for them is nice. For us, we gotta keep... That's pretty much exactly what we want. I mean, we'd probably take an artifact land over that, but I guess artifact land could be disrupted, so maybe not. Even if they Vandal us here, I could still Glinthawk and play a Craig, so Gatecreeper Vine, okay. They get a Swamp, and we get a Furnace. So I could Bolt this, or like leave up Bolt. I don't really love that. I could Glinthawk and use the Lembas here. I think I'd rather just get the tap land down though, so we'll do this Skyfisher. They have a lead the Stampede, and they hit 5 creatures. Fantastic. I don't really know how we're going to fight through this. I mean, they have to discard 2 cards, but still. Discard a Troll and a Giant. Let's Lembas, Galvanic Blast. Yeah, removal's where we want to be at, I think. Not to mention Burn, 7 in hand, 4 attacking. It's like a 3-turn clock. But we're probably going to have to use one of these like on a Battlement or something they play here. Wall of Roots and Wildling. Ends a Forest. Plays the Battlement. Yeah, I mean, this makes 3 mana. There's no way we can let that live. Skyfisher. Play Lembas. I mean, Garrison's land drops. I do want land drops. Technically, if I Skyfisher, pick up a Lembas here, they could just Spy and win. I don't think I can afford to hold up a Bolt the entire time, and with Lembas returning to hand, I think land is definitely what we want, so we're going to keep it, but we do have to risk it here. I mean, technically, we could have a Fairy Macabre from our sideboard, so it's possible that they will be a little hesitant to go for it without fiending first, but if they have it and have no other card draw or way to find fiend, they might just slam. Wall of Roots, Battlement, okay. So not going for it. This is 6, puts him to 8. Well, we need 5 more damage. That's not going to happen even if we find a Galvanic, unfortunately. We have to find like 2, and then I wouldn't have the... I guess if I could find 2 Galvanic Blasts specifically with these Limbuses, that could be lethal. They do Winding Way, and they hit 3, including a Vandal. Craig. Alright, well they have a Vandal, so even a Relic of Progenitus doesn't really matter. I mean, it pinches their mana, it forces them to use the Vandal, but I don't even think that's something I'd care to get, probably. But we're starting with the Limbus, obviously. Seeker of the Way is irrelevant. Double Electrickery doesn't even do anything. I mean, it kills 1 Gatecreeper Vine, which I guess cuts them off 1 mana. So I think I mean, yeah, if they have a Spy here, I could kill 1 creature. I guess if they use the Wall of Roots, I could double Electrickery to kill these 2 and shoot the Spy. That technically keeps us alive. They have a Generous Set they can play this next turn, though, which means I can only get in for 4, plus they're going to be at 7 because of the life gain, so I need to find another Bolt or something. I think I got to go for a Limbus here. Again, we just can't really afford to not. Synth is not what we need. I just need, like, I would love to find a creature, but if I, like, keep this and then find a Skyfisher off the top where I could just play the Skyfisher, I think that's bad. Let's put it on the bottom. Well, Seeker of the Way is not great. Do I even care for Seeker? Maybe they block it and I can kill a guy. Holding these 2 up bluffs that I have interaction against a Spy. I think I'd rather just play the Seeker. Or it bluffs that I have a Thraben Charm. I guess maybe that would have been worth it. We don't have a Thraben Charm, but they wouldn't know that. Again, they have to worry about the Macabre, but I'm not confident that's something they're really going to care about. They cycled the Generous Set for the Forest rather than playing it, so that feels like they either have another one or they have the combo, because otherwise they might want to play a Generous Set to survive here. They were weighing their options and decide that they just want to go for it, and we are not going to have any way to stop them. So maybe holding up the mana. Yeah, like Seeker's pretty irrelevant here. Holding up the mana to bluff a Thraben Charm. They probably wouldn't have gone for it for as long as they thought about it. That's kind of my thought. Yeah, I'm not sure it would have changed anything. They might have gone for it anyway, but I should have left up the Thraben Charm, the bluff of a Thraben Charm. I don't know what we would have drawn, but maybe they wouldn't have cycled the Ent. They would have played that. I could have gotten in for 4. With the food, they would go to 7. I have a Bolt, and then if I could have drawn a Galvanic, we could have gotten there. I don't really know. This was like the hardest fought 3-2 I've ever had. It took 3.5 hours, and every single win was in 3. To be fair, I threw a game against Jund by not playing the Relic of Progenitus before combat, and I threw a game against Esper by not makeshift munitioning a guy because I had F6'd. This deck feels extremely punishing to any minor mistakes like those, and that's not to say it's an excuse. Obviously, I should just be playing better, but since I don't play the deck a ton, you know, there are definitely some things that slip through the cracks. That said, I'm still pretty happy with it. Those first 3 matches all felt incredibly close, and I was able to eke out the victories. The Gardens match, unfortunately, just did not feel very close. They got a Monarch out really early both games and just had the removal to back it up. I feel like I didn't necessarily, you know, for a deck that plays 18 creatures, I didn't really draw creatures as quickly as I should have. But also their Crypt Rats kind of punished even if I did have a lot of creatures at one time. And then Spy, I feel like this list is just not set up to beat Spy. 2 Relics in the main deck is nice because we can maybe catch them when they're not fully expecting that. Dawnbringer Clerics look like maybe they can do something, but really aren't going to make that big of a difference. And that's kind of why I like Thraben Charm in any white midrange deck like this, as opposed to a Dawnbringer Cleric, because it can impact the graveyard at instant speed. So I think 2 of those instead of the Clerics maybe could be good. Or even just finding some room for them in the sideboard. Maybe the standard barrier isn't as important. Maybe you don't need 5 Red Blasts, whatever. But Spy just feels a little like we're going to lose. We also had a lot of removal, so maybe I should have just been able to kill creatures a little bit easier. But I feel like we were doing an okay job on that and still weren't able to get there. But this was also from 1 league, so I'm not trying to draw any major conclusions off of just such a small sample size. It was very fun to play if the matches were extremely long. So thanks again, Jake, for the deck donation. If you're interested in having me play a meta deck that I wouldn't usually play, or maybe your own home brew, go ahead and check the link in the description as mentioned before. Thank you so much to my supporters, including my $10 and up supporters: Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JD NPX, Jason Golombuski, Hal Kaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.